Welcome back. Here we are with another nightly lightning news flash. I am really having a time talking about my own stuff. I get all tongue-tied. I don't know what the deal is. But you can see it's our 13th edition. We're doing 12 and 13 tonight. So it's a lot of fun. We're going to do a quick shout out to Christmas movies. I have got my good buddy Marty with me tonight. What's up, my friend?
How you doing, everybody?
We got to talking about Christmas movies, and I'm like, Marty, come on, we can do this real quick. Let's go ahead and do this, talk about these, and because they're important. I mean, I don't know how much you have been watching them, Marty. Have you guys been watching a bunch of them?
We just really started it in the past couple weeks. We got Chronicles 1 and 2, Home Alone 1 and 2, and we got all the other ones, all the mainstream ones, that everybody does. But it's taken a while. Here we got a week left, and we got to cram them in, at least one a night or something like that. But I'm you and I discussed,
yes,
your traditional Christmas movies, and there's a lot of them. I mean, you can go back all the way to the Miracle on 34th Street. You can go back to Christmas Carol, when It's a Wonderful Life,
absolutely,
and which is a major, it's a great classic. We'll touch on that one, but we're talking about like some of the ones from the 80s and 90s, but there's some that what we're here today is to talk about some of the ones that everybody questions, and it's really personal belief of what you think is a Christmas movie and why.
We were just discussing one a little bit ago on the other lightning news flash that I had. This is always in question, right? Well, not that one. Hold on.
What do you got?
That one. Not that one. Where'd I put it? It's up here somewhere.
There it is.
I got my stat.
Use your flashlight.
How about this one?
Which one?
Did I do it upside down? I did.
Yeah, that's weird. Oh, definitely. That I'm glad you brought that one up. That's definitely Christmas. It starts off with a Christmas feel.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's in this pile. I've got it in my pile.
Pile of.
Do you guys like watching these? The Santa Claus.
I've seen the first one. I like the first one. I don't really know much about the second one, the third one, but it seemed a little plastic.
Yeah,
after a while.
Yeah, it's a big favorite of my daughter's. She likes all of them, and I went to a thrift store, I went to a thrift store a few years ago, and
right?
They had the Blu-ray box set, all 3 movies on Blu-ray,
$3. Well, I can understand that.
I was like, yeah, she loves them.
Yeah.
And do you remember this one? Santa Claus the movie with Dudley Moore and John Lithgow? I
never saw it. I saw it go by, but I think he was during his, it's like every movie he was in was like he was just a, like a happy drunk, and it's like I think everybody thought of that of Dudley Moore after a while. And I don't really. I mean, it's like him portraying Santa Claus. Come on,
What's that? What?
Him portraying Santa Claus?
No, he was an elf.
Oh, is that what it was? I just said I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, he was an elf. It was an Alexander Salkind movie, and that's who did Superman and all these other big films like that at the time that were big productions, and with all the they had the credits in the beginning.
It just explains it all right there. Shimmering. Oh, it looks like it's aluminum. Oh, and it's got a Star Wars sound to it also. Oh my gosh.
Look, what I'm looking for is something like this. It's gonna go
like
that. You're like, sure, Bob, I'll work on that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh yes.
Not even worth looking at the new one.
No. Why?
Yeah.
What's
your favorite scene in that movie?
That one?
Yeah.
I can't really tell you. I could tell you, but
sure. No. I mean, there's the classic ones like when the lady says, "I'm going to be a regular customer," or when she gets pissed off at Santa because she's telling, oh, you can get that fire engine. She's like, shut the front door.
But they brought a little bit of that in like Christmas Chronicles in a way, the whole jail thing,
Right. You're right. I love the first one, and I love me some Goldie.
Yeah.
I have her book. I know one of her cousins. And I actually invited her to be on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And through this relative, and she was like, wasn't going to do it at that time. And but she thanked me for the invite. So but I just didn't like that second one.
The Chronicles 2.
Yeah.
I like it, but I don't think it's. I think they should have had the son in it, and they were really stretching. But it was a decent sequel. It had a good theme behind it, but I think they try to conform to some things that I don't know if I should talk about. But
yeah, I mean,
it was okay. But I mean, Kurt Russell is just he's got the best when he gets mad or over he's excited. He's just got the most grinding, thing the way he says it. It's funny. I mean, I thought he really was perfect. He really was a perfect Santa Claus.
Absolutely. That first one when he's complaining about why do they always 3 days at the gym every week?
Right. About his butt. Yeah.
I loved that. So
it was good. It was good.
Yeah, he's great. The one is almost here. I've almost got it. I've almost unburied it. There you go, man. Christmas movie, not a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
Right. It's taken the night of Christmas Eve. I was just watching it last night. I still got like 10 minutes. I got the last roof scene to be watched. I got 10 more minutes left. I've been watching it for like 2 weeks now. And that movie, actually, I went to see that movie when it came out in the theaters. We sat down. The very first scene when the plane is landing, I'm like, wait a second, what movie is this? And it was the girl I was looking at. She's like, I don't know. Then all of a sudden it came up as like, oh, this is that Die Hard movie with Mel Gibson. So we walked out, and I said, my girlfriend's not feeling very well, so we got to go because the movie we wanted to see, and I don't even know what it was. It was like sold out. It's like, so I never saw it at the theater, but but loved it. I eventually just bought it on Amazon Prime because I was waiting for it. I just buy it, so I watched it. But
I bought this box set which has all of them in it.
Which ones? 7?
It was is that how many there were?
I don't know. I kept looking on the.
I think there's this has 5.
Yeah, I think they stretched it a little too much.
It has 5 in there, and but I bought it when I used to do the Black Friday shopping.
Oh,
and so
gotcha.
My nephew and I used to go out and we'd buy DVDs like nobody's business. I'd check the ads. I'd do the, so that's when they had it for like, I don't know. It was really cheap. I don't want to say it was $7.99, but it was something like that for all the movies. Now, some people watch White Christmas, but I watch Holiday Inn.
Oh, yes. Oh, that just reeks of Christmas movie there. I mean,
oh yeah,
that's what it's about.
And there you go. So, It's a Wonderful Life. Color or no color?
No color.
Okay, but okay. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show before. Buffalo Girls. Won't you come out tonight?
Yeah.
Tonight? Do you know what that is?
No, tell me.
That's going to be the end. That's how we're going to end this. We're going to talk about that.
It was a Frank Capra film, right?
Yes.
And did you know he worked on one of the grandsons? Is that what it was? Worked on National Lampoon Christmas Vacation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you look at the very beginning, the big beginning credits, you'll see a Capra on there.
Wow.
One of the Capras.
And that's his grandson?
One of the related,
Okay.
yeah, in there. And it was kind of cool that they brought him in for a Christmas movie, which I did see, Christmas Vacation at the theater with a blind date. Didn't work out, but it was cool because I remember
It
seeing it
didn't
going.
work. It
Didn't work. I mean, no, it was good, but it wasn't like what it was. It was a friend of a girl that I just broke up with, or that broke up with me, and I ended up talking to her. I'm like, and she was a model. she was a model, but we went out, and she was gorgeous, but we just didn't connect. But it was cool. Like I said, I remember at the end of the night just thinking to myself, that movie is gonna be a classic. There's something really cool about that movie. The only thing I didn't like about it, he used the F word in the movie, and I thought that could have
done without it.
Yeah, I think he could. And also, I mean, it's like I'm kind of sick of watching it myself. It's a great movie, but
I don't own it. I don't like it. Most everybody around me does.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah, that's fine.
I guess I'm just like, I can't stand watching movies like that where you're like, why do you invite them to your house?
Yeah.
I'm like,
right. I know, because they just kind of kill it. There's some cheeseball scenes in the movie that, I know other people said the same thing. If you watch like the National Lampoon's Vegas, there's a few cheeseball moments in the movie, and it's like I've seen it every year. I know it all the time. It doesn't bother me if I don't watch it this year.
Right.
It's a good film, and it's I've seen it. It's cool. It's got its moments, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is definitely a Christmas movie. But if you want to get to the movies that everybody says, this is not a Christmas movie. They say Die Hard, but I just saw some people were saying they love that movie. Is that a Christmas feel movie? Is it?
Yeah, because this gentleman here that you've seen him a million times, he's in.
Is John Hurt?
No, it's
put it up close. Put it closer. Put it closer.
I'll see if I can. He plays Victor in the first Underworld.
Ooh.
He's the main vampire in Underworld.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And he's actually what does he have? Does he have MS but his hands are like
all crippled?
Yeah. And I did not know that until
they're crippled, or are they like Gary Berghoff type?
Interesting. You mentioned Gary Berghoff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I recollected that about Gary Berghoff.
It's in the very, if you don't know about, what we're talking about here is Gary Berghoff. He was a Radar from MASH.
Yeah.
And I learned later on, if you always notice, if you're a MASH fan, you always notice that when Radar walks in, he's always holding a clipboard.
Oh, yes.
They never show him, and that one hand is never shown. And because he has, I think they called it a gimp hand, but in the very first episode of MASH, you get to see a clear view of his hand, and it's really small. It's like, like 3/4 size, and it's like it wasn't developed yet. Like it got hit with muriatic acid or something like that. It's really weird looking, but they say, oh, we can't have that in the film. So they always have him carrying something, or something's always going on. But that's the thing.
It was like that in the first episode, not in the
the very first episode. No, the very first episode, the TV episode, you get to see a clear view of his hand. That's I screenshotted it. It's really strange looking. But anyway, let's get back to the Christmas.
Wow, I'll have to check that out. Miss So is here. Hello, Miss So. Miss So is she's my late nighter.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what she looks like, or
I don't either.
You talked about her one time.
I don't either. Yeah. She's my late nighter. She's the one that hooked me up with the gentleman from the why can't I think of Miss So? Why can't I think of the? Give me the name of it so that we can put it out there.
I can't see anything.
But she got me hooked up with all that and had a great chat about comic books.
Oh, really?
Late night. I mean, I was up till very late, just like I probably will be tonight. Here we go. Oh, there he is. There's Brother Joe. Question: would you write a Christmas song to play this time of year? I would. Comic Journey, that's the name of it. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been a few minutes. Yes, I would. And in fact, we played a Christmas song by a gentleman that both Marty and I know, who grew up in our hometown, Denny Smith. And he has his band called The Great Affairs. So if you haven't checked them out, Crimson Cross is a big lover of those guys now. He picked up a bunch of their stuff. So but they did a song called Santa Lost My List and I Didn't Get Shit.
Wow.
So they released it as a single last Christmas, and now this year when they released Sleepwalker, their new album, it's the last song on that record, and we just played it live a couple of weeks ago. So it wasn't my most shiniest moment, but it wasn't my worst. But
yeah,
I wish I could have done better. But I've split these. If you have never seen this, I'm a huge fan. Are you a fan of A Christmas Carol?
Of the idea of the story, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know which one I can actually. Scrooged, I tried watching with Bill Murray, and it looks like it's slickly made, but I heard too many background stories of how he treated everybody on the set, and it just really. And I couldn't get into it. I just could not get into the movie. But the Christmas Carol, I do love. I do love the idea of Christmas Carol.
Well, if you've never seen it, Marty, and everybody else out there, if you're a fan of A Christmas Carol, watch this movie with Dan Stevens in it.
Dan Stevens.
It's called The Man Who Invented Christmas.
Ooh.
And Dan Stevens plays Charles Dickens, and it's about him writing the book and how he was inspired to write the book.
Oh,
and it's also got Christopher Plummer plays his Scroogey character.
Oh, he's amazing.
Is amazing. It's a wonderful movie. I'm going to watch it again. I just watched it with Christine. I'm going to watch it with my friend because she hasn't seen it. So we have our coffee time this week. We're going to watch that. Now, here's one you may not know, but you probably do. But can you believe it?
Slick. You're really good.
Flying off. Now I have to go retrieve it. How about that one? Christmas with the Cranks.
I like it. I like it
too.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good movie. It's not cheesy. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. I think the ending is probably the most heartfelt. They did a great ending when he gave him the. I don't care if you haven't seen. You have to see the movie, but the ending when he gives the vacation away. Yeah. It just shows you that was very heartfelt. I don't know. I thought that was probably the best part. That really wrapped up the movie. No, it was a good movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah. Dan Aykroyd was in it.
That's right. Neighbor. Yeah.
Tim Allen. Yeah. And the rest of the cast, it's got the kid that was in The Middle, right? The Middle. He played.
Oh, Brick. Really?
Yeah. He was the kid who played Brick, the youngest. And it's just, but yeah, it was, Christmas with the Cranks. I liked it. It was weird. I don't really want to. I'll make this a very light, quick story. I liked it. I watched it. I bought it. $5, Amazon, a few years back. My son says, "Oh, wow, really? Piece of garbage." But now he said he likes it, and I'm like, okay, because you told me I shouldn't have wasted the $5.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me you like it. So I was a little confused. I was confused. But the classic, A Christmas Story.
Oh, no.
You're
I
not
don't
a
know.
fan?
No, it's okay. Let's go. Let's go back. Let's go back to when we were kids.
Okay.
I think was that movie a 1979 or 80 movie? When was that movie made?
This?
Yeah,
Um,
78 maybe.
yeah, you'll have to give me just a second
But
because
that movie, I don't know what it was, but it's I think that the time setting is like in the 40s, right?
um the
If I
yeah or the 50s,
40s or 50s.
40. Yeah.
For some reason, oh, I just dropped my water. But for some reason,
It
hold
was
on,
80. It was when we graduated. It was 83.
83? Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
Hmm.
I thought it was in the 80s. But I remember when it came out, I did not like. I wasn't a fan of maybe the color of the movie or the time setting.
Hmm.
It just didn't look appealing to me, even though I was a fan of the I can't think of the main actor. The not I'm talking about not Peter Billingsley, but the other the father.
Oh yeah.
He used to be in a show called Night Stalker, which I really loved. I loved that show. I love
Hmm.
that show, but I just could not get into that movie, and I've never seen it all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces, but never saw the ending. So my mother-in-law bought it for me like about 7 years ago, and she's not watching, but I still have never like put it in the DVD player and watched it. I don't know why. I never really got kind of like, hey man, let's really watch this movie. I don't know what it
Right.
was. I've seen so many things about it. People love it,
Um,
but go
yeah.
ahead. Say
Well,
your piece on it.
and I mean, well, I just love it. It's a. I love the narration. I've never. We just were talking about it today. I've never seen the second one, where Macaulay Culkin's brother took over for Ralphie.
Yeah,
And then, but the new one, A Christmas Story Christmas, is good.
yeah,
So once you watch that first one, then watch the new one, and
okay,
it's really good.
I will.
Yeah,
I
the
think we
woman
might
who plays
try
the
it this year.
mother was really bad off when they made it, and she passed away soon after
Did she?
um, they had made it. What's that?
I think strange that you say that because I remember seeing every time I saw her, they looked like there was something wrong with her.
Mm.
Like she wasn't healthy in that
Mhm.
movie. Or like I said, I've seen a few scenes like man, she doesn't look like
Oh
she was.
well, she played that well. She
Yeah,
she played the downtrodden mother quite well,
yeah.
and it was that was some of that was pretty sad when she did the way she did it. But she was replaced by the gal who was the main stewardess in Airplane.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, yeah, she took over for that role, and she did a great job. The movie's a lot of it's good. It's good. But
Good.
again, still haven't seen Christmas Story 2. So, but
Well,
um
one of my favorites that I don't see very often
mhm,
is I very hold it very dear to my heart is called The Apartment with Jack Lemmon and
mhm,
Shirley MacLaine and Fred McMurray, which is a award-winning movie. It was Academy
mhm,
Award-winning movie. My brother loved it. He told me all about it before. So I remember in 1990 I got it, or either I got it or I got the VHS copy. And I remember I was
mm.
really sick during like a weekend that I was really sick, and I ended up watching that movie, and I just fell in love with it, and I was like I'd watch it every year, and wore the VHS tape out until one time it was like, oh, it wasn't working right. So, but I saved the cover, you know. Um, but I try to watch it every now and then if it's on Amazon or if it's on any other stations, and usually they'll play it after Christmas. Thank you, dickhead. Um, but sometimes they'll have it on the streaming, during the summer. I'm like, well, I'd never watch it then, but
Yeah,
I did
you're
get
like,
lucky a couple of years ago when they did have it on, so I got to watch it like on Christmas night or something like that. And
yeah,
but it's taking place in the fall time, and then they come up to the Christmas time. They have a
that's
nice Christmas scene, and then they end with it New Year's Eve on New Year's Eve and like at
wow.
midnight, and then they end the movie. But it has that kind of a Christmas feel. So there's a nice Christmas scene in the movie. So I call it a Christmas movie because it takes place during that time period. But That's
I'll have to
one I
watch that.
hold dear to my heart. Yeah.
It
It's
seems like I've seen it, but I can't recollect anything about it.
it's just about it, like an office worker guy. He works in this huge office place,
Mhm.
and he's trying to climb the corporate ladder
Okay.
because he's a single guy. He lives in this apartment in New York, and he tries to climb the corporate ladder by letting the not CEOs but the board, all the
Mhm.
upper management, to borrow his key to his apartment so they can have their marital affairs. And that's what the movie is based on kind of like that, where like he comes home, he works really late at nights, and he comes home after they're all gone, cleans up his place, and then and he tries to do his life, but and he falls in love with Shirley MacLaine, who's an elevator operator, and finds out she's having an affair with his boss.
Oh,
Then he's just in love with this girl, and also but you'd have to see the movie, but it really hit home because I was a single guy at the time, and I was all kind of like all by myself, and it was just kind of a cool
right.
film. But it's Jack Lemmon. It's just like he was just a
All right.
great slapstick type of character. But that
Classic.
was mine. But
Yeah, he was a
but
classic.
but you said you brought up Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
That's it starts off
Hmm.
in Christmas time.
Yep.
And
And
Christmas is
I just mentioned this on my first little jaunt tonight.
yeah.
I ended it and said, whoever's coming back to see this, who could tell me what rock star's father was in Lethal Weapon?
Oh, I know that. I know that.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't a real big star. I mean, the rock star was big, but the guy he didn't play in many movies though, and that
Oh,
was Anthony Kiedis.
yeah.
Is that right? His name? Is that how you say his name? Guy from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
He's in when they're buying the trees at the beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
And he was
Anthony
in the
Kiedis.
Goonies.
Was he?
Yeah. He was the brother who was always singing.
Wow. I
Mhm.
forgot. Every time I see the movie, then I see. Oh yeah, that's Anthony Kiedis' dad there. Yeah.
Isn't that the
And
same guy? That's the same guy, right? Somebody's going to go, no, that's not the same guy.
yeah, he's in. Yeah, Anthony Kiedis' dad.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I think that's the same. No, see, because when I'm thinking about him in Lethal Weapon, I don't think it's that same guy that was in the Goonies.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. But I didn't realize I wasn't a big Goonies fan, but
Okay, well, right, you are right. So that is right. That he was the same guy. I just wanted to make sure.
did
That's
somebody
like,
say that? Did somebody?
yeah. Brother Joe said that. Right,
Oh,
you are right, and I think that's what he's talking about. Because earlier I made a mistake on producers.
how dare! How
I know,
dare!
but I don't like doing that. I like when people point out that I'm wrong because I'm like, you are right. I am wrong. That's not right.
Hmm?
You
Ding,
know,
ding, 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 ding.
just because I think that's the right guy. But you think about him, you think about him in the back of the truck. You're like,
Yeah,
okay. Then you think about that guy who's in the Goonies. You're like, well, wait a minute, maybe it isn't the same guy.
it's hard to tell.
I just get the faces. But I was just talking about Bon Jovi, thinking the Fairbairn had produced 7,800 degrees Fahrenheit. He did not. Lance Quinn
You
did.
didn't? Oh, okay. Yeah, that was
Lance
a
Quinn did. And
that's a surprise.
Mike straightened me out on that, and I thanked him profusely because I don't like making those mistakes. But that's just the way it is.
But
I'm trying to think
I thought Gary Busey was incredible in that movie. He really was.
in Lethal Weapon. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But that was okay. All right. Here you go.
Played Jericho, right?
Jericho. Yeah,
Remember,
exactly.
remember when he had the lighter going?
Yeah, and he was doing like
yes.
it's like, just winch, dude. It burns. Okay. Here's something really cool about if you're talking Christmas movies.
Yes.
Okay. And Lethal Weapon movies. Okay, in Lethal Weapon being a Christmas movie, the house that was used in Lethal Weapon is the same house that's used in Christmas Vacation.
Really?
Yeah. Look that up. Of course, it's a California-based helm,
Right.
of course, but yes, that's the same house that's used in Christmas Vacation.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, I can see it,
Yeah.
when because I have seen Christmas Vacation. Of course, that's how I know I don't like it. But wow, that's wild.
But Darlene Love is in that movie. And Darlene Love is sang like a couple big, huge Christmas hits. That's Roger, not what's his name?
Oh,
God,
yeah. Danny Glover?
Danny Glover, which is Murdoch. What's
Mhm.
his name? Yeah, Murdoch's wife
Murtaugh.
is Darlene Love. Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. And so that there's a lot of Christmas theme. Something about that is in the feel of the movie.
We
But
just watched a movie. What was it? And it had the woman that's in Lethal Weapon who plays the psych uh, analyzer.
oh yeah,
What?
at work, at her work.
Yeah,
Yeah, psychiatrist.
yeah. She's. What was she in? I just saw her in something. Oh, this is terrible. It's so weird. She was running. What did we just watch? Oh, I don't know. I'll. Because wait.
It's a good movie though. I thought Lethal Weapon, the whole Lethal Weapon. I got up to 3. I think
Mhm.
2 has got what's his name, Joe Pesci in it. I think the third one's got Joe Pesci as well. But I couldn't bear that. I tried doing the 4.
Couldn't
I
do
think
it.
I don't know. As we all know, not to get into the whole Hollywood thing, but the writers are just. It's so tough for them to think of new storylines, which
Right.
it's almost like music. It's like rock music. It's like everything is you know it's the same. It's just blah. It's very
Right.
gray. Very
Right.
gray. It's the same thing with movies. It's like we still have free tickets to the movie theater down in our town, and we
Yeah.
didn't use it. And we've had them for over 8 months, and just cannot find a film that we want to see.
Same
And
thing.
it's true. There's nothing new, and comedies are very very rare when it's good from beginning to end. That's very rare one. There's one that just came out that we want to go see.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just really difficult to I don't know, sequels. It's very rare when you get a part 2 that's just as good. Like a
Yeah.
Back to the Future 2 I thought was a great sequel. Yeah, some
Yeah.
sequels are sometimes even better. I know people say that about Godfather 2. You know,
Yeah.
Here we are. Getting off the Christmas thing.
Well,
Okay. Now, Goodfellas. Some people have mentioned the whole okay, Goodfellas had a Christmas scene. It's not a Christmas movie.
But it had a
Just because it had that one Christmas thing, it has to take. Okay, is it now? Ask your audience.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of their favorite ones that are they're not really classified in the DVD Christmas film shelf, so to speak, that we argue that they are because they have some type of thing. But Goodfellas, there's a scene of Christmas in there, but it's very short lived. But the movie is I said when you only have a 10-minute scene and that's not truly Christmas. It's not taking place around it. And
Yeah, it's gotta be, like the holiday or whatever, There's
is it is
and
it is it well is it
some of them sneak in. I don't know that they are.
is it because they have Christmas trees and lights, and then there's a little bit of a feel in the background of it where that's the time period. That's when
Yeah. Here's one. Here's one. My student just threw this one at me today. Every year they watch Batman Returns
Really?
because it's winter Christmas time.
Well, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I can understand that. It's a
So
dramatic movie, but
that's what they do. Oh, here it is. The lady also in Die Hard, she played a news anchor. Oh yeah,
She did, didn't she?
but you know, Richard Donner did this movie that we were watching.
That's why. That's why. Right there.
And shoot, but what was the movie? God, it's bugging the crap out of me.
But a lot of producers and directors, they will use a lot of the same side people. Yeah, they do that. That's a good one.
Here it is. She's in this.
Scrooged.
She's in that.
Yeah.
I tell you what, there is. I was saying there is nothing like the scenes with Carol Kane as the ghost of Christmas Past. That she kills it. She is freaking hilarious. Really? She does so good. That voice of hers, it's so high pitched, and then she just punches him and kicks him in the nuts, and it's like just freaking hilarious. It's hilarious.
He deserves it too.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. What other film?
One. Some people love it. Some people don't. Elf.
I thought it was well made. It had a good spirit to it.
I love that movie.
But there's always that one scene of that one guy who's against spirit or against love or family or is working too hard, and all of a sudden they change, and then it's happiness all over again.
Right.
That's what it's supposed to be about. I mean, that's what It's a Wonderful Life. It's what Scrooge is all about, or Scrooge or the Christmas Carol. It's about them seeing a different way of life, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing because you want your storyline to end up being happily ever after at the very end, which is
right.
It's a good message.
Check this out. Bob Glidden says,
what?
Did you mention my favorite Christmas movie, Life of Brian?
Life of Brian, yeah.
That's right in the beginning. Right in the beginning. That's a great call. That's awesome. So for all of you out there watching, me and Marty and Bob, we all hung out in high school years. And
it's Bob, Marty, and I, really English.
No, it's Bob, Marty, and me and Bite Me. It's this is my show, not a grammar lesson. No, you're right. I suck. But anyway, but Bob is the one I always mention that played me so much music that I'd never heard before that I still am in love with. Back here, it's the reason that I'm going to be getting Liam from Hell's Addiction a copy of British Lions. He's the reason for that. JWD, what's up? Invasion USA with Chuck Norris sort of was a Christmas movie. Most think Santa with muscles is the goat. That's an interesting point. I was reading A Christmas Carol to my students, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody has truly portrayed the ghost of Christmas past correctly. The ghost of Christmas past was kind of buff, is the way the book reads. Yeah, kind of buff. Not like Jack Reacher buff, but like
that show.
Tom Cruise buff.
Oh, okay.
And then like there was an arm missing, and then there was an arm, and then there was one leg, and then there was 14 legs. It was kind of weird. The only one that ever gets close to that is the one this one. The only one that gets close on the Ghost of Christmas Past is this one with Jim Carrey that Disney did. They kind of, and he kind of gets silly in it, but that's the only one that gets close because he's kind of moving and he's doing this thing, and then the hilarious thing is he gives one of those side looks like Jim Carrey does.
Yeah.
Did you get that? He does that. Does that kind of side look,
Classic. Classic, yeah.
Classic. So, but yeah, I was reading and I'm like, wow, interesting. I've never seen it portrayed like that. I saw an old man. They've had an old man in the live action ones. They've had a woman who was actually kind of stockier looking woman. Um, and then oh my God, Joel Grey played. He's frail. I mean, he is tiny. He is.
Don't you think to me, they have to be witty, but they have to have a look, and their physique has to be like they've been through time. There's wisdom there.
Yeah.
It's the way I look at it is if somebody, like I said, a ghost from Christmas past, somebody that you just look at them and you just see years of wisdom coming through, and so like, and everything they say should be like, wow, I didn't think of it that way.
Right. Right.
It's you have to add humor into it nowadays. It's but you got to get them. You got to get them but I think that you have to earn their respect in that regard of like everything they say is so wow, I guess I never thought about it that way.
I love this. Lance, does it seem like Stu has kung fu dubbing? Everybody was kung fu dubbing. The audio is in sync, but the sound's hilarious.
Of us?
I guess. I don't know. I don't. You see? Do the side thing. Now, when it comes to A Christmas Carol, I'm all about it, right?
Right.
Now, there's two things recently. There are certain versions I haven't seen. Remember Henry Winkler did the American Christmas Carol when we were growing up?
Yeah.
I've still never seen that front to back.
He started branching out. He's a very, very good actor.
Yeah.
He was a great actor. Saw Heroes.
He had to after he jumped the shark.
That's when it killed him. Killed his career. I mean, but that wasn't him. It was the writers. It was the writers. But he's actually a very fine actor. But I saw his Heroes movie that he did with Sally Field, and it was blown away by how, he was a Vietnam veteran come back, and he had a lot of mental problems. But no, he was a great actor.
Yeah, totally. Still is.
He's a Michigan guy. Yeah, Michigan guy.
Yeah, he was.
Always been fun.
What I thought was so interesting was that, like, was it his first film after doing Fonzie? He did Night Shift.
And we love that movie.
The exact opposite of Fonzie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where he's put upon and it was just freaking hilarious. I loved it.
He was in all that another movie with Stallone. He was a gang. It was like a 50s gang guy. Yeah. I can't think of the name of the movie, but yeah, he played with the Lords of Flatbush.
Yes. Yeah.
I know somebody was getting ready, probably typing that in, ready to tell me. Sometimes it sounds like Marty is using the Sega Genesis sound chip for voices.
Yeah, because earlier on your voice went to a little digitized sound. It wasn't like it is now again.
Oh, okay.
The best Scrooge's actors. Okay, so here you go. There you go. Creepy Onion says The Batman Returns was a Christmas movie or just cast in the winter. I say Christmas. It is what it is to you, right? If you think it's a Christmas movie,
when was the release date?
The release date on Batman?
Yeah, the Batman Returns. And and the one guy just said, I'm a creepy onion. I talk desktop and cell phone. I toggle between desktop and cell phone. Well, the first one, the one guy was talking about the Night Shift. I thought Night Shift. We loved Night Shift. Come on. That was Keaton's. Michael Keaton was dominated in that movie. He was just hilarious. And Shelley Long looked amazing in the Making the Eggs. And you love that. You love she was smoking hot. I don't care if there's women on here, but Shelley Long was smoking hot. I thought she was the most gorgeous eyes look like deer.
She was the girl next door.
Yeah,
Literally.
literally. Yeah.
Literally, she's a girl right next door.
Go,
And
go,
yeah,
go.
gal. Love
But
that
Michael
gal.
Keaton was I thought Michael Keaton was incredible in that movie.
Yes. Yeah. This is Chuck to remind Bill to shut up. And remember, what other star made his debut in that movie? Big.
Kevin Costner.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Costner. And that was you know who directed that movie?
Yeah, Ron Howard, right?
And yeah, Henry Winkler's good buddy. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And his buddy Clint, or his brother Clint Howard, was in the movie also.
That's right. He was
Like
the
always.
dude in the. Hey, kids, you like music? Yeah.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun.
Embarrassing scene. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Man, they are just flying in here with all this. I got to see if I can get this figured out. So I got to get back to this. The best Scrooges. Okay.
Best Scrooge actors to get back to Lance Jennings. Lance Jennings is asking about best
Scrooges.
Who is it? Who's best Scrooge actors?
What? Scrooge? Like, so there's Alistair Sim was in the one in 1951. The other one really isn't. From 37 is not really. I still have to watch it all, but he was fantastic. But then George C. Scott did a great take.
That's the one right there.
And Albert Finney in the musical.
Yes. Oh, he's just a dynamic actor himself. But I think when you said George C. Scott, he was one of those actors that dominated every scene.
There's Alistair Sim, and then here's Albert Finney in the musical, and then here is the George C. Scott. It's got a sticker on his face, but George C. Scott. This is the one with the woman. That's the woman who is being the ghost of Christmas Past. But that is Edward Woodward, the Equalizer, as the ghost of Christmas Present. That is the best Christmas present
ever.
The best Christmas present.
Okay.
Although this one has a pretty good one too. In that one. But let's see who was in this one. I forgot. Then there's the Patrick Stewart one. And he actually read it too. He did a full reading of the book.
Did he?
Yeah. And then there's, of course, this landmark, The Muppet Christmas Carol.
No. Okay.
And there's Vanessa Williams, speaking of Playboy, Vanessa Williams from A Diva's Christmas Carol.
I got those issues. Yeah, Penthouse issues. That's right.
Yeah, Penthouse. That's right.
Did you know Playboy passed on those?
Yeah.
On those photos, Hugh Hefner thought it was wrong to do that, so that he passed up many many millions of that, but he made the right choice.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he made the right choice. But yeah, Vanessa Williams, oh my gosh, amazing singer.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved Eraser.
Yeah, I did too.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. I thought it was an incredible movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun.
A
lot of fun. Yeah. And of course, Home Alone. Gotta love Home Alone.
I know a guy who was actually, he was a standee in that movie. This guy's been in so many. He was an extra. It was when I did the Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
When I was on the Chicago Fire, I met this guy named Jeff. I have to get I have to dig for his name, but he's in so many movies, in so many TV shows. It's ridiculous. That's what he does for a living. He's an extra for NBC and in all big Hollywood movies. But one of the big films he was in was Home Alone. But you never see him, but he was just a standee, so he got to see, he got to watch the movie being made.
Wow.
which I think was just amazing. Just the fact that this guy watched the movie. You know, I
Right.
mean, he would just like sit there and watch the movie, but he's been in so many different films and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought that he got to see that, and I've asked him some questions about what it was like. He goes, "Oh yeah, you could tell that this movie was going to be a huge hit." But after he goes, after I saw it in the theater and hearing John Williams
Mhm. Mhm.
do his part, then you knew, like, because John Williams just made the movie, you know.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we just watched Home Alone 2 tonight in there and stuff like that, and we saw the little cameo of Chris Columbus. Is that his name, the director?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he makes a debut in there with a little cameo of him and his daughter, and then John Williams. They show John Williams actually as well, directing the.
Correct.
And his son is right,
Uh,
keyboard player for Toto.
oh, really?
Yeah, he
No,
didn't
I
like
didn't know
he didn't
that.
like going out there bragging about it, but yeah, the keyboard player in Toto was John Williams' son.
Oh my
You
God.
know, imagine that. I mean, of course,
So you're
everybody
talking
in
about the
Toto was,
original one?
huh?
You're talking about like the original keyboard player?
Yeah,
Yeah, who worked
yeah,
on Thriller?
probably. Yeah, I know the whole band Toto was on Thriller. I know that.
Yeah, pretty much. God, yeah. So I want to say David Page. Is that? But that's so his name's not Williams, right?
Right. I think that's what it was. He was like one of those guys that wanted to make his name without having his dad's name. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Nicolas Cage, and Nicolas Cage is
Oh no,
Nicolas
David.
Cage is a
Uh, yeah, there's
he's
David Page. Yeah, because
famous director in his family.
I'm trying to remember. Uh, huh. Look at this. No, so it's not David Page, but the son. His father, David Page's father's name is Marty.
Really?
Marty Page.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I'll have to look into that. Because I want to remember what that song was because there was a break during the recordings of during Thriller, and he's like, "Hey, do you have anything, that you're working on that maybe we could use?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, um, I'll, I don't know, I was working on this," and he played it, and he's like, "Cool," and they used it. I can't remember what song it was on that album, but yeah. Um, was this Stallone asked Winkler to sell the Rocky script to ABC. A deal was reached, but later Stallone got a better offer and Winkler got ABC to cancel it. Wow. And JWD saw Joel Hoekstra on the GMA3 today with Trans-Siberian. Are you a Trans-Siberian Orchestra fan?
never been to it.
I've never seen it live either, but even
Yeah.
though they're records, sometimes I was mentioning that I'm not in love with all the singers that they've had. I'm kind of like, okay, really? That's okay.
My wife wants to see it, and I should, but I just don't. People,
Yeah.
oh, it's a great Christmas thing. Is it really? Is it all Christmassy? Is it?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm just into the classics a little too
Well,
much. It's a
yeah,
little too. It's a little too prog to be Christmas. I think they're.
I call it I call it metal for the masses.
Yeah, it does nothing for me. If I
Yeah.
hear the song, what song do they do? That's really popular.
Carol of the Bells.
Yeah, and it's like I really I heard the Trans-Siberian version, and then I heard like an old classic one, and I like the old classic one better. I don't know what it is. I'm like, it's great guitar work, it's fantastic guitar work, but I
Mhm.
just it's beautifully written, or beautifully performed.
Yeah.
I just don't get into it. I don't know. I just
Well,
don't really. It doesn't make me go, oh my gosh, I got to go see this huge thing, and
mhm.
and to see all these people. It's just like metal, like a Christmas movie done metal, and I'm like, I don't know. I just
Right.
it's almost like a horror movie. I don't like the horror movies, Bad Santa or these other horror movies that
Yeah.
are done in the Christmas theme. It's like it's just
Right.
wrong for me. I don't get it.
Silent
Black
Night,
Christmas.
Deadly Night,
Yeah,
Black
I mean,
Christmas.
well, you know what? Okay, let's go to another one. Here, let's go through another. We kind of trail off here. What about reindeer games with
What was it?
Charlize Theron and
Wayans?
huh?
Who was it? Was it Bruce Willis in that or
No,
Wayans?
no, Lieutenant Dan. He was in Lieutenant Dan. He was in that one,
He
and Ben
was?
Affleck. Ben Affleck, but no, I can't think of
Oh
his.
yeah, Ben Affleck. Yeah.
Yeah, but Lieutenant Dan, I can't even think of his name right now. But he was,
Oh man, I can see him, and I even have an autographed T-shirt of
yeah.
him.
But he was that was a well done movie. I thought it was a very well done movie. It just the whole twists and turns in the movie, and I thought Ben
Mhm.
Affleck did a really good job of it. And the ending was just great. The way what he did with all the money, I thought that was a great. It was just one of those killer endings.
Yeah.
He just takes a stack of money and just throws it in somebody's mailbox and like in the farmers, and it was just perfectly done with the way he did it. He didn't just take all the money on the way home, but no, I thought that movie was done, but it's got a Christmas feel to it as well with the
Mhm.
you know with the time period and that, so that's another good Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It is. It's when you call
Forgot
it
about
Christmas, you
that.
go, yeah, yeah. People don't throw that in there. The reindeer games is another one.
Yeah.
I just but the part I get bothered with is when they were playing Nat King Cole, and
Mhm.
that song to me is Toto also played on Low Down Boss
Oh,
Gags. Wow, I didn't know that one.
I didn't know Steve. Oh, they did. Yeah, because they were a backing band. Like Eagles were a backing band.
Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stone Ponies.
But what was I saying?
Or the Blue Man Group. JWD says doesn't get the appeal of Blue Man Group either.
Even though I've seen that before.
Yeah. Saw them at the Nokia Center about 8 years ago. They have two different groups now. Yes, one on the
Is
Western
it?
Coast. Yeah,
That's smart.
their original violinist, Wood. Why can't I say his first name? Wow, I'm really having a time tonight. I couldn't think of my buddy Gino Arce's name earlier. That was horrid.
Large.
Yeah, Gary Sinise, that's the name of the guy. Yeah.
Gary Sinise, that's right. I gotta hide the elves. I have to hide. I have my alarm on my phone for all parents out there who have kids that have the elf on the shelf.
Never did it.
Okay, well, I do because my kids.
Well, I do.
Well, because my youngest one is 7 years old, and I
Right.
still carry the tradition on. But
Right.
okay, here I have three things I have to hide because it was just one, and then 1 year because I'm making. She's not watching it; she's in bed. But
Right.
the first elf, okay, she called it Snow or Belle, whichever one it is. But then 1 year we were getting close to December 1st, and I couldn't find it.
Oh.
Looking through all of our stuff, couldn't find. So I went out and bought another elf, and then all of a sudden I found it. So I had two elves to hide, but then I had this one Christmas. I don't know what it was, or some type of snowman or something like that, and it kind of broke. But it had a really cool black top hat on it. But it was the top hat that Scrooged that Bill Murray wears. So it had that cool hat. So I took that off of the device, and then I threw the rest of it away. So I always had this hat, and for some reason I started hiding the hat also. So I'm like, oh, let's make it where the hat is in a different place too. So I call it Mr. Hat. So every night from was it December 1st? Is that what it was? Yeah, I think that's what we do it. Is it December 1st? Is that the elves and Mr. Hat come out? So I have three places I got to hide them in all different areas, different scenarios, do things where I had a pink bubble, a pink balloon. I blew it up, and I taped it to the ass of one of the elves, and I put on the sign. It's just it says I swallowed my gum, so it looks like a big. So I did that one. I've done. I don't really do the gross ones where I have it, like pooping out Hershey things and stuff like that.
I was. Oh, I'm sorry. All I can. I wasn't going to say mine until you just said that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, wow, is that what you call it now, Mr. Hat and the Elves? Is that
Mr. Hat and the Elves? Yeah. So yeah.
It's not
And then
meat to veg. It's Mr. Hat and the Elves.
Yeah, Mr. Hat and the Elves, and then it gives her something to look forward to every night, like and every now and then it's like, yeah, if like we'll wake up and she's like, they didn't move because I'm like, I totally forgot about them, it's like, so I have to wait till they go to the bathroom and then move them real quick, and then they go, oh, it's not in the same spot, and but
oh man,
yeah, every night I did. So I glued a couple magnets onto the hat. And it's like the hat is about this, like this big or so.
Yeah, okay.
It's a really cool cloth hat, and so I taped it. I glued a couple magnets to it so I can actually, stick it on stuff.
Yeah.
So I do that on the doors or up high on a nail or whatever it is. So I just do that all the time. But yeah, we do in different scenarios of where they're at, and I have little guitars, little Van Halen guitars. I have do that, and but it's fun, and then sometimes like now my alarm goes off, and like, oh, that's right, I got to do it, and then but when it comes time, like Christmas Eve is my last time of hiding the elves.
Oh, it's coming
And
up.
they show up on Christmas morning, and usually by the tree or whatever it is, and then Christmas night, then I have to take them and put them back in the box, and then I don't do it anymore, and it's like I miss it. It's a weird thing, but what it is, it's the same thing we all parents do. It's like when your child finds out the not, it's no longer magic,
Right.
it's I hate that. I had two daughters that went through that, and now I got this last one who still believes in the magic, and it's a beautiful thing, but you're counting, it's a countdown, like how many more years do we have of
Right.
this, so it's a lot of fun.
Right.
It's a lot of fun for us to do, and I think of cool areas to hide them, and around the place, and and I do sometimes I make it where it's like, holy crap, you don't know where this is at, they can't find it all day long until I finally go, okay, it's right, look in this area over here, but it's a lot of fun.
As long as you don't forget where it is.
Oh, okay, now that's the clincher right there, because there's times when I have to sit there and try, I'm like, where in the hell did I hide them?
Yeah, right.
I forgot where I hid them, and I got three of them I got to do,
Yeah.
and so I've done that before, where I can't even figure out where I hit them, and then all of a sudden I'll be in bed, and I'm like, okay, and then I'll get up and I'll go go find it and hide it someplace, and then but it is a lot of fun, like I said, but it's always weird, like on Christmas night, like, oh, I don't get to do it, I don't get to do it anymore, but
Right.
it's something I think that even though she may be like 11 years old, in 4 years, that I'll probably go, I'll still hide them, just for the fun of it, because it gives them something to do in December. It does. They have a lot of fun doing it, and it's but it's,
well, it's not like it's the most childish of traditions. It's a tradition that adults can do.
right.
Where is it? Where you hide something? Yeah, I mean, I lost him. Oh, I wonder if his phone died. He should be back. We've done this before, right? He popped out and then he popped back in. So hopefully he'll be able to pop back in. Unless his phone died. If he doesn't come back in a couple of minutes, then I'll just I'll step out. As far as some of my favorite things about A Christmas Carol, if you haven't ever checked it out, there you are. I started this sentence. I'll finish this sentence. If you've never checked out A Christmas Carol from 1969, you go on YouTube. I should have put a link out here for it. But you can watch the original Christmas Carol that got me hooked, was animated, and it came out in 1969. It was directed by Zoran Yannick.
Mm-hmm.
and the freaking Marley's ghost scared the hell out of me.
Really?
Yeah, because it's not like just a rendering of a guy. He's got this huge skull with this hair that's like, ooh, and and it's like, what is that? And he's got these
Mhm.
big fingers that keep moving, and it's like, ugh. But the weird thing about that show, though, when you watch it, please do watch it because it is worth it. It's only
Mhm.
45 minutes long. So you can sit the family down with YouTube at the TV and watch it.
Yeah.
45 minutes. But the thing about it is I think certain decisions were being made throughout that movie while they were making it. Like, how do we save money? Like, we're going to do a musical. So there's a scene where Scrooge and his nephew are going back and forth in an operatic way in
Oh,
his
really?
office in the beginning. Yeah. But then there's no more. There's no more of that through the show.
That's
So
weird.
yeah, so they just did it, and then they're like, okay, we don't have anybody to come up with the rest of those. So no more songs. Okay. And you're like, okay, we need to cut the budget down on this Marley's Ghost because there's too many moving parts. And okay, we'll just have him disappear for a few seconds. So for I don't know how many cells that was, but it was plenty. And he was gone. He was
Yeah.
talking, you could hear him, but you can't see him. So you're like, this is really kind of weird. It's like you can smell them cutting the budget as
Yeah.
you're watching the show. But it's a great show though. It was great.
Yeah.
And the Marley's Ghost is worth it. So just put in Christmas Carol 1969. It'll come up. You can watch. There's a bunch of different ones, but it should be like 45 minutes and 21 seconds. But anyway, so that's where I got started with it, and that's where my love of it came. Lance, I have seen some places online and at stores selling Evercade cards for $29.99, and the $10 jump is a disconnect. Oh, Evercade is a kind of a retro unit video game system. I have one, and I'm waiting for the right moment to open it up. I have one. It's brand freaking new. But yeah, I have my special things. Lance had mentioned the favorite Scrooges and all that stuff, but I have different. Every show has its best thing, like the best Scrooge, the best Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, Future.
Yeah.
The one with Patrick Stewart, that one is Ghost of Future is weird. You'd almost think that E.T.'s dad is in the suit because the arms are way down here and there's this big huge sticking up. I'm like, what is going on there? I don't understand it. But the probably the best Future was probably either the one from Scrooge with Albert Finney or the one with Alistair Sim, because it was just a guy. Alistair Sim was a guy in a cloak and a hand. That was it.
No.
Just like this animated version that I told you about. Stu, have you seen the Three Bears Christmas cartoon from the 70s? No, I haven't. How about this one though? If Papa Pete was here, he would be touting the raccoons. Is that what it's supposed to be? The Raccoons Christmas special. Here's one for you. How about this? Of course, here's the classics: Charlie Brown, Rudolph, which was done the year I was born, 1964.
Wait, go back to that. Is that the stop motion photography one?
Yes, Rankin and
Yeah,
Bass.
I saw them. Okay, I got a really cool bit of not silly, a bit of information here, but
Yeah,
we'll go back to Burl Lives here in a second. But those those things were only like so big. Those little
right.
those things, and they sold those. They tried selling those things, and they were going for big bucks, because they were the originals, and there was only one, there's only one of
Right.
each that they had. But my whenever I hear Burl Ives,
Hmm.
my grandmother went to high school with him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought, and so every time I hear that song, I'm like, wow, I'm like, I always say it, we always say it every year, and especially with my brother, like, grandma went to high school with him. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm your brother. I know the story. We heard the same story, but we say it every year, like anything. Anytime we watch movies, we watch these certain Christmas movies, and we always tell the same stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, this, and my wife looks at me like, I know, I know.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
got.
but yeah, because every time you hear Burl Ives, I always hear that, and I always think, God, what was he like back then? What was he? But I think there was. Grandma said, that yeah, he was definitely. You could tell that he was going to be
Mm,
somebody in the music, like in the
mm.
in the actor or music business,
Yeah, because
But
he had, a lot of people think of him as being, this old guy, this old m- singer,
yeah,
but he had a funny kind of charisma about
yeah,
him. He was very jolly kind of guy,
yeah.
you know.
Happy
That's like
songs.
when my band leader at church told me that she went to high school with Dave Weckl. I'm like, you what?
Oh my gosh,
I was like,
amazing drummer, amazing
flipped
drummer.
out. Yeah. Um, this is another one that I love is the Snow Queen. Um, it's a cool little cartoon. I've got two versions of it. I bought a second one to see if the quality was any better. It's
Was that
about
85 or something like that, or
oh no, it's very old. It's the Hans
oh,
Christian
geez,
Andersen.
man.
Frozen is based on this.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, and she's very narcissistic, like the queen in Narnia.
Yeah.
Um, and so she doesn't like this little friendship between these two, and she comes into town and because the boy was like, oh, I'll show her whatever if she ever showed up, and so
Hmm.
she's like, oh bitch, please. And so then she zaps him in the heart with ice
Really?
and turns him cold, and he becomes mean, and he smashes the roses that they've planted together and just acts a total twat. And then she takes him away, and then the girl makes her way to get him and save him and bring him back home. So she like
Mm.
goes through all this weird crap to try to get to him, finally does, and brings him back home. But yeah, and they defeat the queen. um all the Frosty shows, Frosties. But here's the one I was looking for: Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I
Jim
remember.
Henson, made for HBO, I do believe.
Yep. Well, that's when we watched everything on HBO. You know,
Mhm.
anything and everything. I mean, it's like, you remember when HBO would was it Cineview?
Yes,
Cineview
Cineview.
was Cineview was one of the first ones we had where they would start like maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and they would end, like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, and they would just like
Mhm.
beep, just go off, and it was weird to see that, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
so weird to think that's what happened when we were kids. Boop,
yeah,
you know.
2 o'clock in the morning, no, and then all of a sudden you started, oh, I can actually watch a movie at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know. Then it got to the point where you can watch anything we're skipping way ahead,
Right.
you know. But then you came on that one programming channel where it would scroll by, like telling you what's going on. Like, oh man, I gotta wait another 5 minutes to see what's gonna happen, and you know, this sucks. Talking about it's like, well, screw it, man. We had a little TV guide, or we had the little free thing you got at the grocery store that told you about the weekly
That's
stuff
right.
that was going on.
That's
Or the
right.
Weekender thing in the paper. But nowadays, yeah, you can watch it anytime you damn well want at any movie, and I'm so overwhelmed by what it's true. You got your Netflix, Hulu,
Mhm.
Tubi, Peacock,
Mhm.
and and there's so many things even besides that, and it's like I don't know what to watch. But yeah, Amazon Prime.
Right.
So you must have anything and everything. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. Because once you
Yeah.
get kind of bored for the 5 minutes, okay, I'm gonna watch off, and it's like, man, you never. I don't know. I just wish it was. Have you ever stayed in a hotel? You know,
No.
yeah. When you stay in a hotel, yeah, you watch something that you normally would not watch, and you
Right.
watch it, and you can't rewind it, you can't pause it or anything like that. And it's like it's old school way of watching TV, and it's kind of beautiful in a way.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
too many choices.
It is
Too
too
many.
many. I
Yeah.
Too many shows, too many suggestions, too many. I'm just like, I don't know. I never
You
know
know.
what to watch, you know. And then there's things that I want to watch and I don't feel like I have time.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Do you want to watch that? Well, I really do, but I really don't right now.
Right. Right. Like do I want to rent the apartment? The movie The Apartment. Do I really want to rent it? Do I want to buy it? Well, it's been that. I like the movie called The Wanderers. Came
Oh,
out in the
I own it.
'70s. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
it's a great.
Ace Frehley was a part of the Ducky Boys.
What do you
Not
mean?
not like in the movie. Like those gangs were real.
Yeah.
Like the
Oh, he
Ducky
he
Boys,
was.
that was a real gang.
Oh,
And
was it really?
yeah, and Ace Frehley was a part of that gang. In
In
real
real
life,
life?
he was a Ducky Boy.
No, I had no idea.
Mhm.
Because yeah, he was in that really crappy New York Bronx and stuff like that. You can tell just by his old voice, like
Mhm.
the way he talked back then. Oh wow, I had no idea. They
Yeah,
were
and
rough.
his kind of off kilter kind of, um, just how he's so off the cuff and just like, when he act, you're like,
Hmm.
what the flip is that? I don't even what is that? I don't
Yeah,
why do you respond like that?
yeah,
That's act. You're like, okay, that makes no sense
yeah.
whatsoever.
I'm not gonna
You
say
know?
he didn't have any class, but he was one of the guys. It's like he grew up in his lifestyle in the early days. You
Mhm.
you just don't give a crap what people think, and that's just the way he was.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
was he was the, he was the original guitar player. He had his own style. I always respect Ace Frehley for his. But you can't like as far as I mean, God, we're going from Christmas movies to Ace Frehley stuff, but
Oh,
but Ace
Merry
Frehley was
Christmas.
it. Chris, it was Kiss was the type of music that as a guitar player you can't improvise on. You can't
Mm,
you can't add anything to a Kiss song. It has
mhm.
to be like it is, almost like Boston or certain Aerosmith songs or something like that. But there's certain music where you have to stick to what it really was. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
It
You
was
can't really.
signature the way it was.
Yeah,
That's
very signature. In certain
mhm,
movies, to me, that's why I always think that whenever they do remakes, I'm like,
mm,
you just can't. You can't redo Point Break. You can't. There's just certain feel to a movie. I hate
mhm.
it when there's certain movies that they just you just
Miracle
can't
on
do it.
34th Street. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you just can't do it. I
I don't know
can't read.
about I
Go.
never did see the new Bishop's Wife. I finally saw The Bishop's Wife recently,
Mhm.
and awesome film. Great, great film, you know? So if you've never seen that, that's a great Christmas film.
No,
But
there's just almost too many to.
yeah.
And I think you're right, but like everybody's mentioning these movies. Like I said, I didn't see Reindeer Games
Mm,
but there's just so many. And here I've got like a week left. Do I
mhm.
really have to watch Christmas Vacation? No. I
Yeah,
was kind of
no.
I was kind of hoping to avoid that one this time
Yeah,
around. I really wanted to. My daughter wanted to watch It's a Wonderful Life. I'm like, you should watch that movie. It's a
yeah.
must see movie.
Mhm.
It really is. There's just yeah, I always see if some reason you know who the big famous cameo in that movie is. Let's see your get. Do you have giveaways and all to your
Not as of
callers?
yet. Not as
The,
of yet.
the first person who can actually say that they saw It's a Wonderful Life and who the famous cameo in that movie. It's in the
Oh, you talk about alfalfa?
No, thanks. You just ruined it. Somebody just can't win a free keychain. Yeah, it was alfalfa. Great.
Sorry.
Thanks, fucknut.
That's my job.
Yeah, but it's a lot of people. There's some people I threw it out there to people. They were watching it
Mhm.
lately, and I just said, "Oh, did you ever did you ever see alfalfa in the one close to the pool scene? And the pool scene is, come on, that's classic. That
Oh,
that that dance scene is just unbelievable. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah. I loved it when his brother comes in with a pie on his head.
hmm
That's
how
classic.
it this um that movie, even that I when you talk about Scrooge's, it's that the bank manager or
Yep.
whatever the guy that that guy was the perfect asshole in a,
Yes.
in in a movie. He seemed to me like almost like a Scrooge type of
Yep.
character, but
Yes.
it really is. It is just and Donna Reed was just smoking hot. She was beautiful.
She's
She was
gorgeous.
She was just
Gorgeous.
absolutely gorgeous in that movie, and it's like it came so close with that one scene where she gets her dress torn off. It's like, oh my gosh! But yeah, she was gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
I say it in front of my wife. I'm like, oh, she was smoking hot. And she's like, I'm like, come on, she's like 90 now.
Well, and it's like the stupid rag mag that I saw where they're like, this has been years ago, but it's like Ronald Reagan wanted to marry Doris Day. I'm like, who didn't want to marry Doris Day? I
Yeah.
wanted to marry Doris Day.
hmm
Like, she was a gorgeous woman who could sing. She could do everything, and she was beautiful. And you're just like,
Her
yeah,
personality with that.
I yeah, that's not a surprise. Who didn't want to?
Right.
That might be the list you might want to look at, you know? Um,
Raquel Welch is mine. I think
mhm,
Raquel Welch was when they talk about
mhm,
vintage hotties.
mhm,
You
mhm.
know, she was one of mine. I still to this day, you find certain women that just have that her eyes, the cheekbones. I mean, it's like the perfect looking
Linda
model and stuff
Carter.
like yeah. But Linda Carter was one. Yeah, her daughter is just as hot, but yeah, it's just
Mhm.
everybody's got their thing, back in the day of
Right.
but where do you draw the line? Do you go from this, okay, from the sixties to the 80s? But but there's a lot. And nowadays, you can find pictures of most gorgeous women. They're not even popular, but
Right.
you don't want to go in there. But if you talk about Selma Hayek of the '90s or whatever it is, and but certain ones that to me, if you take a decade, who was the top one? But it's all opinion. Of course, it's all it
Right.
is. You know,
Right. Yeah, you and I seem to see eye to eye as we were talking about, before. We that's where we are, but I've
yeah.
known other people where, one of my favorites is one a friend once said, "She looks like she came out of a magazine." And I'm like, "Okay." And then I said that to another friend of ours, and he goes, "Well, what magazine?" It's like, was it Popular Mechanic or was
yeah.
I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
dude. Oh my god.
You know,
Oh
how
my
can you
god."
really, out of a magazine? Right? I mean, that's I guess that's our old way of saying it. That's when you saw a picture of that. Nowadays, you get them popping up on your Facebook thing, and
Yeah.
just like, where are
Yeah.
these? They're like, not the filtered. I don't like the filter thing that they do, but
Right.
just there's just beautiful women everywhere, but
Yeah.
just the ones we were always exposed to, and like think about back in the 50s of Marilyn Monroe, or there's like four or five
Mhm.
that were just so
Jane Mansfield. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were so big, and it's like, man, there was gorgeous women, you just didn't see it. But also nowadays, everybody knows how to make themselves like that. Where back then, that was just all makeup and
Right.
proper people doing it. But oh my gosh, there was there were girls back even in my high school days. There's one. You remember Janae Arbuckle?
Yeah. Yeah.
she still looks amazing.
I,
I mean, grew up to be still a top notch, almost like Susan Hoffs from the Bengals. You
yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
Susan Hoff still just aged
I,
amazing, just
I
perfect.
mean, yeah. I mean, walk like an Egyptian when she does that eye thing.
Oh, it's every guy's dream.
I'm
But
like,
she's
yeah,
still without any plastic surgery or anything like that, outlasted all of the '80s women, and
yeah.
still like is a natural
Hmm.
beauty. And I
Well, like,
think that we saw that. We
yeah,
could see that from back then, you
like
know.
Doug's cousin, Lisa.
Yeah. Hmm?
She, I was, dude. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I was years ago. I mean, this is decades ago now. Um, I was going to a flea market, and we went to this one just off the side of the road, and I'm walking through, and there she is, sitting in a chair amongst all of this farm equipment.
Hmm.
I'm like, well, hello. What are you doing here? And her husband was they lived on a farm, and he was selling some of the old gear. She looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
And she
And
wasn't like, she was dressed exactly the same, had the kind of the vest, the puffy vest thing, just
yeah.
like she used to in high school. I'm like, God.
We're just I can't even think of her name right now. What's her name?
Uh, what's that?
What was her name?
Lisa, wasn't it? Lisa.
I don't think it was Lisa
I thought it was and then her last name was a H.
Huber. Kathy
Kathy.
Huber.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw her at Doug's wedding, and I'm like, yeah, the same thing. I'm like, God, dude, she looks like she's just right out of high school, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, still, and yeah, she had that. She was like I said, I had the major hots for her, but yeah,
She,
Kathy Huser was her name.
yeah, right. That's
Kathy
right.
Huser, yeah, yeah. I
Kathy.
got some interesting. I can't, you know, if we go off,
I
go off
probably,
live,
I probably, yeah. I don't know. I This is
we
weird.
can't say, there's certain things I can't say on live,
Oh
but
no, I
about her,
don't.
but yeah, she was one of those types that had the gift of aging. And
Yeah,
that's the way, I mean, it's the way I feel about my wife, you know. She's like
yeah,
that, you know.
yeah.
She looks better now as she did even 10, 20 years ago, but she was the type. She was a geek in high school, and all of a sudden she graduated, and on her 21st birthday she was at a local bar, you know, in the town actually we live in now.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, it was unbelievable. It says so many guys were trying to ask me out. You know, it's just it said, oh, you couldn't talk to me back in high school, and they'd be, yeah, she was that type that went from geek to beauty,
Beauty.
and and still, I
She's
mean, from the,
stunning. Absolutely.
yeah, thank you. And she really is.
Absolutely.
She's, you know, she's uh she just has it. She just has it.
Mhm.
And then I could see that in her. And you know, I've seen that a lot with girls I went out with before, and like, oh my gosh, I dodged a bullet on that one, you know. And and but yeah, I going back to Kathy, I think Kathy had that same quality to her,
Mhm.
you know. And I would hate to see her because I'm like, 'cause I know the way she looked back then, and she still looks that
Yeah.
good. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
It was just such a weird situation. I think probably my two, because
well,
we haven't
well,
had a chance. Oh yeah,
I
go
can
ahead.
still hear you. I just got to turn this thing off. Just like
Oh
keep
yeah.
going.
So we haven't hung out too much over the years, but I think my two favorite stories uh with your wife is the first of all is the one at the pumpkin festival
Yeah,
when your when your daughter's like, put her up on your shoulder. And so I picked her up and put your wife on my shoulder.
yeah,
Um, and then the other one was when we came up, when we all got together and came up and hung out at your gig. And she's like, you want to go down front, don't you? I was like, yeah, I would love that. And so she took me by the hand and walked me downstairs and
yeah,
down the stairs and by right in front of the stage. And you guys did Lita Ford. You actually played Lita Ford when I was
yeah.
down there.
Hmm. That was a
Yeah.
fun show. That was a
Yeah,
fun
it was
show.
a fun show. Was a
Yeah,
fun show.
that was before we were married. That was
Yeah.
right before we met, before she had kids and stuff like that. And she,
Yeah.
like I said, you know, you see her nowadays, and it's like you can't tell that she had 2 kids. You know,
Mm.
she bounced back real easy. And even when she was pregnant, you'd see her from behind, and it's like you do not look pregnant. You look, and then all of a sudden she turned, and of course
Turn sideways. You're like, oh,
there's
okay.
the basketball. Yeah, but yeah,
So,
unbelievable. You know,
so we can wrap this up here. But
yeah,
remember how we're going to finish? You were talking about "It's a Wonderful Life,"
yeah.
and
Go
they
ahead.
sing the song "Buffalo Girls."
Yeah,
That is a song about prostitutes. So
really.
they were building the bridge. Speaking of, the Buffalo Bills are doing very well right now. Um, and so they were building the bridge from the States there to Canada, right?
Hmm.
And so there were the women, the prostitutes from Buffalo. And so that's what the guys would sing, "Buffalo Girl, won't you come out tonight? Won't you come out tonight?" Well,
Oh,
so
that's what that's about.
that's what that's about. So they would
Wow.
call them and then when they finished the bridge, they had a big celebration. Well, these other prostitutes from a nearby area migrated to there to take advantage of this celebration,
Hmm.
and the Buffalo Girls beat the shit out of them and sent them packing. So how about that? That's girl power for you right there,
What'd
man.
you come out tonight? What'd you come out tonight? Oh my gosh, that's almost like a snozberries type of thing in Willy Wonka.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when
Yeah.
people find out what a snozberry is, like, oh my gosh, and it made it in a movie.
So what is a snozberry? I don't know.
Oh, look, you have to look it up. But I mean, that's another maybe that's another topic. But it's no, it's really weird when you look it up. You're like, how did they put that in that movie? But I mean, it sounded like a made up word.
Right.
It's almost like 21 gigawatts or something like that.
Right.
It sounds like
Right.
a made up word. But when they find out what it really means, it's like, wow, you actually got that in the movie. You know, tastes
How
like
did you work
snozberries.
that out?
Yeah, it's something with the male genitalia, I think it is, or something like that. It's really weird, but yeah, that was always one of those
The
secrets.
filthiest joke ever hidden in a children's movie. Lick an orange, it tastes like an orange. The strawberries taste like strawberries. The snozberries taste like snozberries. We laugh because snozberries is obviously a fanciful, fictional word, and nobody knows what they really were, except that Roald Dahl, the book's author, knew exactly what snozberries were. They were dicks.
Yeah.
Snozberries are dicks. Willy Wonka made those kids lick dick flavored wallpaper. What a way to write that. Let's just lay it
Hmm.
out. Let's just lay it out there.
I
It
heard the
turns
new
out the
one
guy
is
who
really
thought
good.
a
Go.
story it turns out the guy who thought a story about an insane recluse casually murdering a group of children had a pretty screwed up sense of humor. Oh my god.
Well,
And
that
79 Doll decided to revisit Snosberries in his adult novel, My Uncle Oswald. So there you go. That's
it's a strange movie, but it's well made. But when you break it down, it just
not
um
sure that Hollywood hides dirty stuff in movies made for kids. You're kidding me. Yeah, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
That's
especially
great.
nowadays. Nowadays it's almost meant to be in there. It's how they want to teach that
Well,
stuff in schools, but
look at see, that's what I don't like about the certain Disney films is when they started doing that. And I'm talking about way back, like
yeah.
Emperor's New Groove. So, Kronk is out running around with the witch, and the next morning they wake up and she's got this elaborate tent and everything.
Hmm.
And he's got this little tent. Now, it would have been still funny. It would have been funny if they put it over his face, but no, they made a joke out of the male situation in the morning when you got to pee, and they made the pup tent, and they put this little tent over his crotch.
Oh,
So I'm like, seriously, really? I don't need to know that in the middle of my.
Disney is not as innocent what you think, and there's more stuff. It's just it's ugly. It's
Mhm.
ugly what's going on with that stuff. But that's not a conversation we want to get into.
Oh no, but it is
But
one of those situations where I'm like, I don't want it. It wasn't like Looney Tunes,
yeah,
Looney Tunes just they had a way of making certain adult jokes, and Rocky and Bullwinkle
yeah.
that we got them as adults. The kids
Mhm.
aren't going to get that. But it's not that I'm sitting there going, whoa. I'm just like,
Right.
it's more of a haughty laugh than it is a little perverted laugh.
I can't believe you said that, but it's
Smells berries.
well, but the new Willy Wonka is actually supposed to be really good if they, as long as they didn't, I did see the God, what's that cat's name, that the guy who did the last Wonka movie.
Oh,
Uh,
you talk, yeah. Um, Johnny, uh,
Johnny Depp.
Depp. Yeah.
It was just so
God, it's one of
dark.
those nights.
It's just so dark.
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't know. I didn't. I
Weird.
don't even know if I even made it through the whole movie at all. But it was like they always had to make it bigger than what it was. It's like, no, just make it fun for what what it was. But I heard the new one was supposed to be really good, and hopefully they don't have anything new, you know new
Right.
into it. Like new messages, and oh, you gotta show these certain people. You gotta show these. You gotta pay tribute to this.
Oh God.
Um,
Yeah. No
yeah.
interest. Miss So says in the new Wonka movie. Yeah, it's supposed to be a prequel.
Is it
Um,
okay? I didn't know. I didn't know.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
really?
supposed to be a
Really?
prequel.
Did they? Oh, did they show anything about the weird grandfather that stays in his bed? And it's like that. Okay, that part right there. What's her name? Miss So. What's her name? What's
Yeah,
your
Miss
guess?
So. Yeah.
Miss So. It's it's so disgusting. No
Yeah.
interest in new. Yeah. Um, Nocturnal Miss So. It's so true that. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that in there, but
Ha.
but the whole grandfather scene was even when I was a kid, we kind of questioned it, and like, what are the parents? You got two sets of parents and they're all in the same bed, and the guy won't get out of bed unless he gets a ticket to the local chocolate factory.
It's almost like as kids, it's like Scooby Doo physics. Like you don't think about it.
Yeah,
You just can't think about it.
right,
You know, as
right.
I've said a million times, how do you fly a washing machine with an ironing board as wings and a fan that's come unplugged
Yeah,
and two ghosts are inside who are real people?
yeah.
How are you flying in that? It's the physics of it all. And you're like, four old people like that in a bed? That'd be gross.
It's disgusting. It's like they're just rotting away. But like, oh, you just bring them food, and every now and then they get up and go to the bathroom, or else they go into a bedpan or something. It's
Yes.
just had some weird stuff. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It definitely had some weird stuff, especially that one guy who would came up to each child and
Oh,
whisper
yeah.
in their ear and talk about, and I
Hardcore.
know there was. I swear to God, if we do more research just on the Willy Wonka, because it was called something else. I think there was an original title to it, but it's probably one of those movies that was written all on acid or just tripping. It was just too. It
Well,
really is bizarre.
I
Yeah.
mean, that whole scene with the boat where it's got the eating, the lizard eating the grasshopper that
Yeah,
you're like, what the
too.
hell?
That was too creepy. I knew friends that stopped watching the movie just because of that scene, and even the kids in the movie were freaked out. They're like, we don't know what's going on, and just the way Wilder did that whole
Right.
scene, you know, it was just it was weird, but I think the songs are the ones that really got you because they were great songs.
Hmm.
You know, there was some
Absolutely.
really I love the main song that they sing in the movie. I thought it was beautiful, but
Yeah, yeah.
and I love the band name that came out of that movie.
What?
The snotty rich girl who got everything she wanted. What was her name?
Oh, Veruca Salt. That's right.
That's a badass
That's
badass
right.
name.
That's
I was
right.
thought I just thought that was one of those coolest names.
Hey, Saboteur's here. What's up?
Original name
Yeah,
was
the
yeah,
original name
Charlie.
of the book, and yeah, it was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah. That's one of those books I've got a copy, and I got to make a reel because I want to read books for a living. So I want to do some of that kind of stuff. So that's one of those books that I'm going to be reading and recording. So to make my reel, reel.
Oh, for narration.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know there's all
Mhm.
kinds of places that need to do it. So, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that was great. The Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was a really cool concept,
Mm-hmm.
and
But
it really was. You know, even
yeah.
the props. You know, I love the props. The
Mm-hmm.
even what Gene Wilder did at the very beginning when he said he wanted to do something different when he did that whole
I
flip the roll, and that was
love
all
it.
improv. And you know, I thought that
Yeah.
was I thought it was just it was just something about the movie had its own little magic
Mm-hmm.
to it.
Totally. Yeah. And it was him, that was, and I still, so I know we should wrap this up, but are there any places where you can see, since you're raising kids, and I've raised mine and now I'm working with students and stuff.
Mhm.
Are there times that you can pull from television, movies from when we were growing up and you go, I use that in my parenting?
Yeah, yeah. There's a I can't nail it right this second, but there's moments.
Yeah.
There's moments. I've seen certain things that I've seen my parents do. I think that the tough love thing was
Mm.
kind of good of where basically you just got to experience it.
Mhm.
My mom's done a few of those things, and I'm like, wow, I saw that in an old movie. You
Mhm.
know what she did? She made me experience something, even though she knew I was gonna get, I was gonna learn my lesson.
Right.
But yeah, there's certain ones. I think um,
Yeah.
certain old movies or TV shows. I think that
Yeah. I
taught us
think
well.
about I think about, like, the Andy Griffith Show,
Oh yeah,
there's times where that was
okay.
good tough love stuff there where you're like, "There's consequences, buddy, that's just the way it goes, and you're gonna need to apologize to them. You're gonna have to be a man and fix
Yeah.
this," you know?
Oh, a
Um,
lot of lessons. A lot
yeah.
of
And
lessons. I think when they show kids giving up
mm,
I think one of my favorite ones was on Andy Griffith when him and Opie was with his friend and trying to shoot for a job at a
mm,
store. They
mhm,
were
yeah,
both competing. The guy goes, "I can only hire one of you." So they were both competing, and then then Opie found out that the kid was needed the job to feed his mom to help his
yeah,
parents because his mom was really sick or something like that. And then he did something on purpose to get him disqualified, and then he told his dad about it, and his dad said, "I'm more proud of you now because of that." And I thought that was a great lesson that the kid learned, and the
right,
parent didn't even tell him. But it was like it taught the parent, that like, wow, I taught my kid well.
yeah,
Those are the ones I think that are great. Was when the kid hands something over or doesn't take certain money or hands it over to somebody else, and it's like
mhm,
that's when you know that you've done your
mhm.
job. You know,
Yeah, that and certain students have done things, on certain days where I'm like, "Wow, okay, good on you, man."
yeah,
I'll make sure I point it out, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Um, because I've said to the students for a long time, I'm like, "It's not what you've done, it's what you're gonna do about it." And sure enough, one day, one of the students said that to another student.
wow,
They're like, "It's like he says, it's just it's not what you've done, it's what you're gonna do about it. I'm like, well, all right. Well, thank
You
you.
pass
That's
it on.
not that's not the rule. I mean, these things don't happen all the time, but but it is rewarding when one of those pieces of logic gets through.
You made a
And I think
difference.
about Willy Wonka when I think about those things. I mean, I
Yeah.
take a few cues from there, like when he's like, that one kid's freaking out and he's like, "Oh no," you know, and I'm just like, "Yeah, I pull that now and again.
Yeah. Oh
But
darn. Oh darn.
it's just one of those things. One of those things. Well, all
Well, that
right.
was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yes. So JW is asking if clarify for me, is there a Go Game Go show or is this no, I think we're good. I think we're still in tomorrow, so I'm planning on it. Um, so there should be more to come. Um, well, thank you everybody for popping in tonight. Marty, thank you for giving me 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 15 minutes, and look at the time. It's an hour and 46 minutes later. I was supposed to be done at 10:45.
Thank you, Miss So. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate everybody being here tonight, and everybody who saved my butt
Lance. Yeah.
on information that I got wrong. I am not. I'm always. Let's see. It's always good to get corrected because I like that. Then it makes me remember.
Yeah.
So no Bruce Fairbairn on 7,800 degrees Fahrenheit. Lance Quinn. Did
That
Silent.
album almost broke him too.
Yeah.
They
I
had lost
love
it.
that. You guys used to play Silent Night, didn't you?
Yeah, actually, I bought that album for Kip on his birthday in '85, and
Wow.
brought it home to him. And I forgot what else I did, and all of a sudden he went downstairs and is playing the song. I'm like, you already learned this song? I'm like, I haven't even heard it yet, and then we started playing it out, and my brother thought it was our song, and a lot of
Wow.
people thought it was our song or something like that. And all of a sudden they heard, and a lot of people like it's a cool song.
Mhm.
It's a cool song, but it was that one in Tokyo Road was probably the only thing that were really good on. But they knew it wasn't a good album, but they record company said it's almost like when it happened to a lot of bands, Kiss, Rush,
Mhm.
and where they had that, when Caress of Steel came out, they're like, oh, really? What is this? And all of a sudden they came out with 2112. They thought they'd go out with a bang.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bon Jovi was, all of a sudden they hooked up with Desmond Child,
Mhm.
helping them write some of the biggest hits. And they could have had even more, but it was really
Well,
Slippery When Wet was a great album. It really
and
was.
and what else did they do that made that such a great project? What did they make sure that they did before they released it or before they put it together? Is they played those songs for kids. They bought pizza. They had all these kids in, like teenagers.
Oh, kind of like a focus group.
Yeah, and they had a bunch of pizza and they all hung out and they're like, "What songs do you like?"
Yeah,
And they're like, "Boom, boom, boom, okay, well, there you go. Boom, done."
yeah.
You know?
It was
They were
smart.
the John Kalodner of the project.
Hmm.
So
Well,
John John
that
Kalodner,
was
John Kalodner.
why. What's that? John Kalodner. What is that?
He's a guy that like Aerosmith. He's this
The long-haired guy with the beard and mustache.
and he's
Right.
got the oh man, his voice. He's like really, I mean, it's just like
Yeah. I don't know if
you
you guys
know.
could do that one. I don't know like about
Yeah,
using
there you
that one.
go. Yeah. And I'm
But
like,
yeah, you're right. But that album that was when I first turned 21. I remember I broke my leg really bad.
yes, you
I
did.
just turned 21, and it was on my 21st birthday, and I just got that tape. So
Mm,
I still have the tape, actually, the cassette tape, and it's in,
wow.
dude, it's almost in mint shape. It's unbelievable how much I took care of that tape, but
You
I
could
still
sell
have
that for a good amount.
it. It still sounded good.
Mhm.
But I got it for my birthday. It was I think my birthday was on a Saturday. My 21st birthday was on a Saturday or 20 or the Sunday. And that's when I learned to walk again. I was on crutches from July and then that my 21st birthday, and that day I remember Kip was across because I mean, I had a cast all the way up to my thigh, you know, from my foot to my thigh, and I threw the crutches on the other side of the room. I said, "No, watch this. Let me see if I can do this." That's when I started walking on my own, and I did it on my birthday, you know. But fast forwarding that night, I had a show, and it was the second night. I played a Friday night and then a Saturday night show, and then that night we were coming home and I saw this place called Raspberries on Higgins Road, you know. I mean, but it was a 4 o'clock bar when bars stayed open until 4.
Yep.
I remember walking in the bar and had this brand new girlfriend at the time, you know, a new girl smell. But we went into this bar and all of a sudden they played "You Give Love a Bad Name," and it was like we were sitting right next to the dance floor. Nobody was dancing, but it was just loud, and it was such a crisp mix and all that stuff. And I'm like, this is that new Bon Jovi album. And I'm like, man, listen to this song. And I'm like, this song just sounds amazing. You know, I mean, it did. You knew there was something special about that album. And you know, the top 3 songs were just mine. They're number 1 hits that you could retire off of. But you knew when you heard them, and like, this is going to be. And I remember saying it on my 21st birthday. I'm going, this album is going to bring Bon Jovi is going to be like one of the biggest bands. You know, and Kip goes, really? And I just said, yeah. I said, Tokyo. I said that Fahrenheit wasn't that great one. I said, but this one, I said, this band is going to be like the staple of the 80s. And I said it in 1986. You know, in November of 86. And then it was, I thought, you know, I mean, whether you like it or not, and I'm sick of playing that stuff, but it was just great writing for the time. And it had Fairbairn did a killer job. Desmond Child, you know, it was really, a lot of the stuff was up to him. You know, if he just went in and just changed the little things, he still got writing credit.
Right.
But, you know, as they came in and did Wanted Dead or Alive, they just couldn't get it, and they went out and they went for drinking. They drank a bunch of wine. They came back in the studio and like, let's try it again, and they said that's when the groove just
hit.
They kind of laid back. They were doing it too white. And so yeah, that's when you know that song really came out, and it's like a rock and roll anthem.
Oh yeah, I sing it at almost every gig.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's a heartful song, and I bet you nail it. You know,
I
and
love doing it.
Yeah, and
I always
it does.
Put an extra growl in there when he says, you know, million faces, and I've rocked them all.
Oh yeah, and you feel it. Yeah. I think you know, not ripping on singers or anything like that, but there's guitar players, there's guitar player parts, there's drum parts and stuff like that, where that's one of those songs where, and I know you'll probably agree with me, that when you sing that song, you feel like you wrote it. Yeah. You feel like you owned it. You're trying to take the role over of what John is. You're at that moment, you're John Bon Jovi, and everybody knows it. And even the guitar playing part is like, yeah, you feel like you're Richie Sambora. And it's like, you know, that is one of those signature songs where you feel like when you're performing it, you're feeling it more, because it's got so much emotion from the, like, it has dynamics from here, and then it gets up to this high scream, but you know, so you feel it. You feel like you're in a movie role when you're doing that song. Yeah. You know,
and I actually do both of those. I do that part too.
Do you?
When he does, because what is it that he's like the done, whoa, yeah, and I do that whole, of course, we tune down a half step, but
smart. You do a half step?
Yeah.
Yes, it's better off done that way.
Yeah.
Especially in prayer, you know.
Especially when you have to play as long as we do, you know. And it's like, just
half step is the best. Is the best.
Sometimes it is, and then sometimes it's really not, because sometimes some things are too low for me. Yeah. You know. Thank you, Miss So. She says, keep going, guys. We don't mind. Enjoy the stories, she says. Yeah, it's one of those things where sometimes, like, we do Angel Eyes by Jeff Healey, and it's already low.
Oh my gosh, you can't go any lower on that song.
So I say, okay, we're tuning down, but can we play that in D
Yeah,
instead of C?
that's
So
smart.
yeah, so we do that, and then what's the other one? There's something else that we play in E because it's too low as well, and it's just easier. It's more in my range because that was a weird
Rebel
thing.
Yell,
What's that?
Rebel Yell
Oh, Rebel Yell. Yeah, that I love doing that in its original
key.
key, but
Yeah,
when I lost lyrics when I sang it a half step down with a band. I was sitting in with them, and I'm like, "What's going on here? This doesn't feel right." And then I realized they were a half step down, but I'd lost a lyric by then because I'm like,
mm,
"What's?" And so then their lead singer started singing it, and then I got back on cue, and I'm like, "I got it," But it threw me off because I went on Wednesday. I went to an open jam and we played it and killed it, freaking killed it in
oh,
its
that's cool.
original key. And so then here I am at this wedding reception, and what's going on? And that was before I had learned. That's before we tuned down, because in my first two bands we didn't tune down. So that was
That's
weird for me. I was like, it seems. I always say it's like taking the sex out of Rebel Yell. It's like
yeah.
it's like I'm cheating her on a date. It's like not. It's just
I know what you're feeling.
it didn't feel right. But then some of those songs are just too dang low. And and I didn't realize that until when I was singing in church. My son's like, "Dad, I think you better find that in a different key because that seems like you're straining." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm straining because it's too low."
Right. Yeah, that's
And
true.
so we can do that same song, but I need to have him bump it up you know, 2 steps, to get there. Do a whole step up, and then it's like that's my power range. So,
You're in
yeah.
your work area.
Yes, my
You know, I saw
wheelhouse.
a version of Billy Idol and Steve Stevens,
Mhm.
his acoustic version of "Eyes Without a Face,"
Oh, that's probably gorgeous.
and it was one where I mean, listen to it sometime because it doesn't have that punk Billy Idol. He's really singing, and you
Uh-huh.
listen to his melody line is just so it's a beautiful melody line,
Mhm.
and you listen to him, and he almost sounds like a crooner.
Mm.
Eyes without a face. I mean,
Mhm.
he really he does this, that almost like Paul, no, Andy Williams, like in the Christmas song,
Wow.
and to me, Andy Williams, yeah, I love his voice for Christmas songs. There's
Yes.
something about it. It's
It's
so
the
it's so
most
American. It's so
wonderful time of
yeah.
the year.
It just reminds me of walking through a mall in the '80s
Mm.
of that time of that spirit. To me, it has all that spirit, all the glistening
Mhm.
of everything that we felt of the magic of way we felt of Christmas when we were kids.
Mhm.
And when I hear Andy Williams, that's the voice that I want to go to.
He was
And
one of those guys that we grew up on who were very percussive
yeah,
singers. They
yeah,
were punchy, boom,
yeah,
boom, boom, you
clear
know?
like a horn.
Yes.
You know,
Very
very,
much
very
like the women in B-52s,
yes.
you know?
Oh yeah, they just they really when they hit those harmonies, they just really, you
I
know,
love
yeah, I
it.
love that stuff. And
God,
um and it's here we are going off again with the
that's
B-52s, but they
this
had
show tells us it's okay, so
but that was a when they came back out, they were a '70s band.
mhm.
They had there was a really unique sound, and it's weird. I mean, Glidden's probably not, watching anymore, but he's the one who
Right.
kind of introduced that stuff to us. But when they came out in '90, I think it was, with Love Shack, and then they
Mhm.
had um there's this they had two other songs that were really big on there too. Not as much as you Love Shack, but
They had
and
Rome.
yeah, Rome was another one, but then they had this um
I know there's another
oh, something Deadbeat Club.
okay. All right.
Yeah, Deadbeat Club, but I just love the groove in the song. I love
Mhm.
the way the girls and the way they sing their
Mhm.
melody lines. It was just something about that they had a sound. They had a really unique sound to it. I love the snare. Love the snare
Mhm.
drum in there, but when B-52s came out again, it was like it was something brand new again. Like this band's old,
Mhm.
this band's
Yeah.
old, but it's just the way they sing it, like you said, but going back to Andy Williams, yeah, he just had that.
Mhm.
He just, when I listen to, the way I start my Christmas, before we open up presents in the morning on Christmas morning with my
Yeah.
kids, I have to play the Christmas song from Nat King Cole. I'm like, don't talk, just listen. I turn it up nice and loud, and it's like I want the room dark and a few candles lit, and I'm like, this is the essence of Christmas. Don't talk
It
during that song.
it's your Christmas desperado, right?
It is. It is.
Like Seinfeld.
That's yeah. Don't
Or my
talk to me.
sister-in-law's Renegade.
Oh, so you like that?
Oh, God. She hears Renegade, she shuts the whole place down. It's
Wow.
and she'll wail on that song. It loves that frickin' song.
This we all have those songs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, before we go, my
Oh, yeah.
Christmas my Christmas rules.
Ooh,
Um, the day after Thanksgiving, my wife likes to go get the tree. Okay,
yeah.
on the
Okay.
Friday, all right? Okay, we'll go get the tree, right? Um, she doesn't really follow them as much as I do about the music and the movies and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
I don't like to listen to Christmas music. I don't, until December 1st.
Oh, yeah.
And same thing with the movies, like I like the and it's kind of we established that, and they make fun of me because of it, but I just like to keep it for just that month. I don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, I get it. I get
You
it.
know. Which one, Nocturnal Miss You? Which one songs like that are the best? Which one?
Yeah,
I
like
like
the
to miss you.
like the Christmas tunes and those tunes, I mean, I just, uh there's some of those orchestral Christmas records that I love,
Yeah. Mhm.
like that instrumental sleigh ride
Yeah.
where my kids used to play it every year in their band concerts,
Did they?
where it's like got the horn that goes, and then it goes, and they had those wood planks where and
Yeah.
they crack. And
Mhm.
yeah, it
I
just
like I like
never gets old.
the Snoopy. There's a couple Snoopy songs. Christmas time, I like that. There's a vocal one, and then there's another one that's just piano.
Yes. Yeah.
And those two, those are the same ones where I'm like, when it's on, I'm like, I just like to be. Those are the ones I like to. That's when I get that feel.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
no, I'm not sure how. Like some people say, I just didn't get the Christmas spirit this year, and it took me a while too. And
Mhm.
I'm still getting it, but I know that the one thing I'm really kind of hoping there's good weather on Christmas, because we're getting a full moon the day after Christmas, which is going to be a 100% moon on the night of, like 11 o'clock. It gets to
Yeah.
be 100% moon, and
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have a full, like a moon like that on Christmas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but um yeah, it's getting into the Christmas spirit of there. I usually have to get it into a store. That's what I think. That's when I know it's
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's true. When I get into a store and I get that, like maybe you run into a few people or something like that, and you're looking around for the stuff, and you get it, and you
Yeah.
hear a certain song. There's just something about it, and I don't know. This year I can't say if there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. It's not like sometimes I've had car problems or money problems or
Right.
whatever it is, but
Right.
this year's it's been okay. I just feel like like my wife and I, we decided not to do as much. I feel like I didn't get to go out and buy her all the stuff that I really
Right.
wanted to buy. But
Right.
it's there. I'm fine with it, and
Yeah.
she's just been stressed out. I think that's the whole thing, is that when everybody's stressed out, it kind of like takes away from it all.
Yeah. Mercury was singing a holiday song in the store the other night. What? I wonder what Christmas track they did. Don't take away my Gen X card. So now Gen X, that's the one that came after the boomers, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Because
'Cause
that's what you are.
that's what we are, isn't it? Aren't we
No,
Gen
I'm
X?
the last of the boomers. I was 64.
Oh, is that what they say? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm a well, I mean, we're kind of like in the where we grew up,
But
so in the Gen X.
yeah, we're the same, and
Yeah.
especially being from the same area, we're pretty much this. Screw the labels, you know.
Yeah. And then they say that the millennials, and it's kind of funny. You kind of roll your eyes at the millennials. And I'm not, you don't roll it, not at every single one, but certain ones
Right.
they just don't. And it's not the fact that they were born at a certain time. If they respect it, respect
Right.
what we had. I mean, I respect what the boomers had.
Right.
I do.
Yeah.
I respect that. And
Mhm.
and my kids, they'd be like, wow, I wish I would have grown up like you did. Wish I would have seen these things. And it's cool that they do understand that they don't expect everything. But
Right.
the new millennials, they just don't get it. And it's just matters. It's all about parenting. But I've taught
Yeah.
a lot of the classics and to my kids to let them to understand it. And
Mhm.
my kids understand too. When they hear the old classics, they hear White Christmas. You
Mhm.
know, or it's like from Bing. Oh no, it was weird. Okay, here, let's go into the Bing Crosby thing here. Um, and I'm supposed to go, dude. I've been on here for 2 hours.
I
Um,
know. I'm like, I gotta get things done. I gotta.
um,
Uh, yeah. There you go. Gen X is 65 to 80.
is that what it is?
Yeah. Born in 74.
Okay.
Miss So was in 74. Yeah. So yeah, 65 to 80. Yeah.
Well, Bing, Why Christmas? It
Mhm.
was recorded in July in Arizona.
Oh,
That
really?
song. Yeah, and you always think about like when were some of these songs written? Did they have the feel? Because can you imagine, trying to like play a Christmas song where it's hot out and you got mosquitoes out and stuff like that? But but did you know what hit the last song that he ever sang? It was a trivia question about the last song that Bing Crosby ever sang was "Strangers in the Night,"
Really?
and he was in. I think it was in. If I'm right, I mean, you know, it's not a television show we're on, but it was. He was. I think it was in Belgium. He was on a golf course, and one of the landscaper guys just recognized him. Hey, Bing, how's it going, man? Can you sing us a song? And he just sang a few bars of "Strangers in the Night," because it was big, and he went on to the next hole, had a heart attack, and died.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, like that was the last
That's
song that he
crazy.
sang. Yeah, it's like I always wonder about that, like a certain stars, like when you take Edward Van Halen,
Mhm.
like the last moment that he played guitar. What was the last stuff that he was playing before he put it down and then all of a sudden he knew that he was getting sick, and then all of a sudden they, boom, you go. And like, what was the
Right.
last thing? What was that last time of him sitting in front of his amps and just ripping
Wow.
away, and
Yeah.
where he knew there was something wrong,
Mm.
and but you always wonder about that because of all the millions of notes that guy has done on a guitar, and like his last moment of, and I was, when you think about that of like what was the last thing that some of these people did,
Yeah.
because they leave such a mark in this world.
Right.
You know, what was
Right.
some of the last stuff that Einstein was thinking or wrote down, or but I always thought that was pretty bizarre to think of.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
it kind of harkens back to what I've talked about on Go Game Go before, where I was watching that movie about David Foster. Have you seen that?
the documentary on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So remember when he's talking about going home from the studio at like 2 in the morning? Like that's that time frame where I don't think we're gonna get to 2 in the morning.
yeah.
Um, But now that we're at 12:39, but here he is driving on this ocean road, this hill up
Yeah.
above the ocean, and out in the middle of the road is somebody, and he hits them, and
Really?
it's Ben Vereen. And
No.
David Foster's hit him with his car. He immediately pulls over and goes back and is trying to figure out what's going on. And here it's Ben Vereen, who is having an aneurysm
Oh, whoa.
at 2:30 in the morning, and he's standing in the middle of the road. He must have pulled over, and then he was having this aneurysm, and he's in the middle of the road, and David Foster hits him. All I keep thinking, and so let's step back to when, if you were working with him on that episode of The Love Boat where they did the musical,
Yeah.
and Ben Vereen was the choreographer on that show,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, I wonder if you'd have looked at him then and said, you know what? Just wait until 2000 whatever. You're going to be having an aneurysm on a mountain highway above the ocean, and you're going to get hit by a guy named David Foster who produced and wrote all these hits.
Yeah.
He'd have been like, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But then let's go back to when it happened. The weird thing is he hit him with his freaking car because he was in the middle of the freaking road. He went back. If he wouldn't have hit him with his car, he'd be dead.
Right. Right.
I hit you with my car, and now you're alive because I hit you with my freaking car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's weird to think, what if you could tell him back then that, but then he's alive because you hit him with with your car.
Right. Well, we talked about Edward. Edward got in a motorcycle accident, and then they checked him out and found out that that's when he had cancer. But then there's some people that I remember some show that was about people winning this big lottery. And it was like all these people that were in this lottery, and this guy was a store owner, and one of these lottery kids, the lottery winner kids, they went into the store the night before and they tried breaking in, and then they ended up like hitting the store owner with something, and the guy went to the doctor and found he thought he was fine, found out he had something that needed to be taken care of, and he goes, wow, that guy actually saved my life, and here he was trying to rob me and all this stuff. But it was like things like that happen. Yeah, things like that happen, and sometimes it could be taken for the worse.
Sure, but
there's times when, like in those moments of like, wow, what if I didn't know?
Yeah,
like certain women that went and they didn't know they were pregnant, and they went in and because think about if they were pregnant, they continued to smoke or drink or do other things, and all of a sudden oh wow, I didn't even realize he was even pregnant at the time. And but yeah, they're called miracles.
Yeah, and it's that thing where I say everything happens for a reason, and everything happens when it should.
Right.
Yeah,
even I think there's disasters are like that too. We always I've seen people that it happened to me. One time the closet. I was living with Kip, and all of a sudden the closet, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, the closet just collapsed. Everything in the closet just, and here we are spending the whole morning cleaning up the closet and reinforcing the shelves and all this stuff, and realized I looked at the garbage bag we had 2 garbage bags full of stuff out and also we looked at this closet, and like it was so organized. I'm like, man, I'm like, don't you remember before? He goes, yeah, it was a disaster. And look what we did. We cleaned up everything, got rid of a bunch of stuff that we didn't even need. Sometimes people's had garages, or they say floods or whatever it is, and all of a sudden it made us really clean up our shit. But it's true.
Yeah, it's
true. But
it's the best way to keep yourself from regret and all the other crap.
Right.
Is really all it says. That's why, because there's many times where I'm thinking I should be doing this, I should do that, this should be happening, and you're like, just know that it's going to happen when it should.
Right.
And then when it happens, then there you go. And And I had a friend of mine, they were going to go to New York, and then because of the COVID thing, they weren't able to, just like we weren't able to go to England for a big concert festival. And I
Mhm.
said, just do yourself a favor. Whenever you do get a chance to go, pay attention to everything that happens. Because I hope for you that, yeah, it sucks that you have to cancel this trip with the family,
Mhm.
but I hope that it's easy enough to see why, and something else happens to where you're like, good thing we didn't come then. We wouldn't have
Yeah.
done this. You know,
True.
this wouldn't have happened. This wouldn't have been going on, you know? Just as long as we keep our eyes open and you know, we understand what's happening around us instead of just going, well, I'm so pissed off because I can't do that.
Right.
You know, get over yourself, you know,
Yeah.
just look for the next good thing that's going to happen instead of bitching about the one thing that didn't happen,
Right. You
you
didn't
know?
realize that I do that with my old band, and but there was a guy, he was a lottery winner. They never said exactly how much he won, but
Mhm.
I remember he got sick one morning. He was supposed to go to he just felt really sick in the stomach, but he had an appointment to go into the World Trade Center.
Yep, there you
You
go.
know, and he turned on the TV, and his wife said, "Do you see what's going on?" And he goes, "I just canceled my appointment. I was supposed to go to the top floor." He goes, "Can you imagine that?" So he went down and helped out with. He knew it was a miracle, so he went down and helped out with all the cleanup and stuff like that, and bought people cars and handed out food and all that stuff.
Wow.
Um, but just yeah, I mean, come on, we all know of I mean, we could go on for days about the people who
Sure,
were supposed to be on
absolutely.
people who were on the Titanic. Hershey was on there, and
Mhm.
and there was so many different things that were going on, and you know,
Yeah,
it happens. I mean, I've had a miracle that happened to me in '92, and then stuff like that. So that and I felt it was a God presence that held
mhm.
me back,
Yep,
and then he let me see what it was going to happen, and that changed my life of what could have happened to me. And it was and I think about it every time I get in the car. Every time I get in the car, I felt God on my shoulder putting, we go like, sit down for
mm,
you just stay here for a couple more minutes.
mhm.
I'm like, why did I feel this thing? Like all of a sudden this just thing, and I put my guitar down, and all of a sudden, came upon the accident. I'm like, wow, that could have been me. That could
Right.
have been me, and it made me think for years I'm like, yeah, it's like I said, every day I get in the car and I think about that, so I don't
Mhm,
drink and never drink and drive and stuff like that. So,
mhm.
but
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
miracles, and
yeah.
you gotta see them.
It's like when I got stuck at a light at 2:30 in the morning coming out of a gig, and I'm like, "I'm not gonna go." I mean, this light would not change,
Yeah.
and it was only me at a four-way lighted intersection,
Hmm.
and I'm like, I'm not gonna go because there's probably a cop sitting somewhere,
Yeah.
or I'll say thank you for the fact that I didn't get hit by that pickup truck that's a half a mile down the road that just ran a stop sign.
Hmm.
Whatever it is that I'm not breaking the law to get through
Right.
this stupid light at 2:30 in the frickin' morning,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
And, you're like, "Nope, just leave it. Let it be what it is and relax." You're not
Right.
you're not in a hurry. You just finished 4 hours of gigging and, and not
Yeah.
to mention the 3.5 or 4 hours that it took you to break down and set up and all that. You just spent 8 hours doing all that. So just you got nothing else going on.
Hmm.
Don't just don't. So,
It's those are some of those times when some people say, "Hey, how was your weekend?"
mm,
Yeah, it's boring. And what'd you do? Yeah, didn't do much. Well, then you hear about somebody else's weekend when you're like, "Oh, a pipe burst in the house," or like we had this going on, or we got
yeah,
in a car accident, we did this, and it's like, wow, I guess my boring weekend really, you start realizing that sometimes your boring activities are not as bad as some of the other people that have gone on in life.
Well, on
You know,
some days we just want to take a piss. We're just like, I don't want to do shit.
right? Yeah.
And so when you get to work on a Monday and you're like, how was your weekend? They're like, it was all right. What'd you do? I didn't really do anything. I said, well, that's pretty special.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love weekends when I don't have shit to do. I'm just like, cool, but I always do. But
sometimes you need it. Sometimes you need those weekends where you don't. Like I said, a gig is a gig. I could play out more. I've been asked to do some really big bands, and as I said, sometimes I'm like, what was my last gig? I'm like, God, I gotta look it up. What was the last gig? What did we do last? Oh, we played that place. I'm like, I don't remember every single gig, but I can remember that laughable moment that I had with my daughters.
right.
They're growing up. A
Yep.
gig's a gig. Like those songs will always be the same. The people that I'm going to see will always be the same. But these kids, and I hate that when I miss the night off. A night away from them and stuff like that. And I'm like, I like to have my time away, but I have to balance that because
Right.
it's like I said, a gig is a gig. That money will come and go, but that child being to spend that time with a kid is a different story. So I'm kind of balancing out and realizing like I've played a lot. I don't need to be like Kiss where I have like 3 final tours and stuff like that. And I get tired of those things. It's like, really, guys, just let it go.
Well,
It's
Kiss is really good with putting it back on the people.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I know that's what we said, but evidently the people want it, and we give the people what they want.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to tour again. You're like, because you remember how long ago it was that they did that whole thing on the battleship with Jay Leno and
Yeah. What about Motley Crue when they said they signed a deal that they would not, that they were finally retiring? Then they come back out and make asses of themselves. And it's like, why didn't you just leave on a respectable note?
Well, I don't think all of that is them. I think there's forces behind the scenes that
are put
on
to
some of that
bad
stuff.
press. Bad press is good press.
I just think that there's other. You got to know. Did you watch the Marvelous Miss Maisel?
No, not yet.
It's good. It's really good. But there's that part in there where they're like, "We own you." Certain art. So there's money to be made by these bands going out, and I think there's people who want to make that money. And so I think there are forces behind the scenes that make sure they get out there and make that money.
True. I think you're right. Yeah, it does get a little, but it's just, I don't know. I think
doesn't make it any less ridiculous.
No, but I think you're Phil Collins and Peter Frampton they're doing one last round before they go, and they have to because you can tell, Peter Frampton's on a stool right now because he can't, but he's just trying to make that one last thing,
Well, so was Jeff Pilson, though. Jeff Pilson was sitting in a chair during Foreigner shows.
Was he really?
Yeah, they'd bring him out, they'd wheel him out, and then he'd sit in a chair.
Oh my, Jeff Pilson from Dokken? Really?
Yeah, I got to get this figured out because I know Jeff, and I'm just like, what is going on? It's just kind of freaking me out. I got to get a hold of him and find out what's happening. So,
wow.
Yeah, I should probably email him.
With some of them, I can understand that that's all they're doing, but. Well, hey man, this is a great Christmas show. It was fun.
Yes.
But I think
it's a great way to end there, being thankful for the things that we have and being able to be ready to celebrate with the family and stuff. So we're it's a great place to end. It's better than Buffalo Girls ending. Although that's going to live with you now.
Now, yeah, when I watch the movie, I'm going to have to watch that one, but I have to watch. I don't know. I think this year should be just let's watch something new and give us something to look forward to next year. Because like even the Home Alones, I'm like, oh, I already saw it. You know,
Well, do yourself a favor if you can get a hold of that original version of sugar. What did I say? The Bishop's Wife.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good film. It's a good Christmas film. And it's classic. There was another one that I just watched last year that somebody turned me on to. They're like, it's my favorite Christmas movie, and I'm like, never heard of it. It happened on 42nd, whatever it was. It happened on whatever street. That's a fun one too.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was. I'll figure it out though. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, something new I think is always fun, and of course my wife saw it in the Hallmark ones. I can't stand those because it's.
Dude, I look at streaming and it's just a plaid wall of Christmas this, the Christmas that, a Christmas without this, or a Christmas with that, a Christmas princess, a Christmas prince, a prince for Christmas. You're like, ugh.
It is.
I'm just
if I have to see any more of these Hallmark movies where the woman's they're always showing the woman, then they turn around their kitchen, they're holding their coffee cups like this, and I'm so sick of that look. I'm like, who the fuck does that? But they always do that. They always hold their coffee cup like this, and always he's the doctor. There's always introducing each other, and there's always some problem. Oh, he's got a kid, and there's just shit. But
that never happens in Home Alone.
No, it doesn't. Home Alone is, I don't know. We break that movie apart so much. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I know. I know.
So, but hey, we got to go, man. It's almost 1:00.
Yeah, I know. I will put this back up. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Marty. This has been a blast. There you go. Big yawn. Big yawn. And then be sure and tune in tomorrow, 4:00. I'm going to be hanging out with Scott Michaud and Dino and Gaetano tomorrow. And they've got a new album that's come out, and they've got new tracks on it. It's very cool. And these guys are amazing musicians. Just crazy shredder, slap, funk, metal, jazzy, cool shit, man. So boy, I'm glad I didn't put the graphic up yet. So all right, everybody have a good evening. Get some rest. I'm gonna try, but I'm still gonna probably be up. I got laundry to fold.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed. I think
yeah. So I will you know what? Let's start this first. I always have to I move things around and then it's like this. So all new stuff that I'm working on, and it's going to be coming to you guys. So we're going to keep some of these short things coming. Looking forward to the new year and the new things that I'll be doing then. Thanks for hanging with us, Marty. Thanks again, man. Love you, dude. There you go.
See you, Bubba.
There it is. Rock Brigade, ladies and gentlemen. Check them out if you're in Chicago. Can you dig it?
Can you dig it?
Have a good one, folks.
See you, bub. Peace.